morning. It is now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Partly cloudy. It is 21 degrees to start us off this morning. Stefano's complete forecast is just ahead, and we begin with some numbers for you. Thousands of Nashvillians are still without power this morning. Nashville Electric saying 106,000 of its customers are still in the dark. Now, some of those customers tell Channel 4 that they received text messages telling them their power was restored, even though they're still in the dark. MTE reports just 785 customers are down. Cumberland Electric reports just over 6,000. Meantime, Governor Bill Lee has signed an executive order that allows TDOT workers to clear non-state roads. He spoke about it with WTN's Matt Murphy yesterday.
We have the resources because TDOT's been planning for it and kind of got ahead of the game a little bit. And that EO just allows TDOT to then support that debris cleanup on county roads. Hopefully that will speed up their process and get those roads open.
That is the hope. The Tennessee death toll has now risen to 8. There were 2 fatalities in Davidson County and then 1 each in Cheatham, Crockett, Haywood, Hickman, Knox, and Obion. President Trump is hinting that he's working to tamp down the tensions in Minneapolis after the shooting of Alex Preddy.
Trump suggested he would de-escalate federal operations in Minnesota after the shooting death of Alex Preddy. Homeland Security now says a review of body camera video confirms 2 federal agents opened fire after one agent yelled that Preddy had a gun. But at no point does the report say Preddy tried to reach for his gun. And video shows Preddy's gun being removed by an agent before the first shot was fired.
ABC's Lionel Moise, the president, telling Fox's Will Cain yesterday that this is not a retreat, as the left is saying. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Markets were mixed after Monday's rally, after mixed profit reports from large companies. The Dow was down 409 points at the end of Tuesday trading. The S&P gained 28 points, and the Nasdaq rose 216 points. Apple, Microsoft, and GM reported gains, offsetting drops for United Health Group and other healthcare stocks. U.S. consumer confidence hitting its lowest level since 2014 as Americans' concern about their financial prospects increases. The Conference Board reporting the index fell to 84.5 in January, below COVID pandemic lows. UPS will cut up to 30,000 jobs this year. In a conference call, the company's CFO said that job cuts will be made through a voluntary buyout offer for full-time drivers and attrition. Amazon announcing it's closing its Amazon Go and Amazon Fresh locations to focus on its Whole Food stores and grocery delivery. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Well, stock futures on the plus side this morning. The Dow futures plus 35. The Nasdaq futures, though, rising 238. And the S&P futures are up 26 points. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There is a problem this morning in Temple Hills at the golf club there. Sneed Road between Temple Road and Old Natchez Trace is blocked off. They're clearing some trees out there. Should be open, they say, by 1 this afternoon. Lewisburg Pike in Franklin is closed down between Mark Hatcher Boulevard and Church Street. MTE is still working there on repairs. Looks like that may be closed for a while. And then you've got the blockage continuing this morning in Columbia on Carter's Creek Pike in both directions between Les Robinson Road and Nashville Highway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, and welcome on into a Wednesday, January 28th. Hope you're doing well. It's cold. It's not as cold as it was yesterday or the day before. It is 21 degrees, and I'm trying to figure out, Joan Jones, what is the feels like right now? I know that it feels like it's cold, but what do you have for a feels like? I'm trying to find it. I cannot find a feels like anywhere.
Let's see. Visibility, dew point, barometer, wind speed. I don't see it either. Isn't that so weird?
Maybe it's a conspiracy that Nashville Electric Service doesn't want us to know the temperature.
Oh, yeah.
Because, there's all kind of accusations being thrown down about Nashville's electric company, NEC. I don't know if you've seen this. By the way, just for your weather today, by 2 p.m., we're supposed to get up to 33 degrees. So we'll get hopefully some melting there. But there's still a lot of people without power. You said how many people are out of power, Joan?
So for Nashville Electric Service alone, it's 106,000 still.
A lot of people are asking questions about that. I've got a whole thing. Go ahead, Joan.
Yeah, so they had 136 when we were on the air yesterday, 136,000. So yes, it's considerably better, but it is still the worst in the entire state.
Right.
In the entire state. And it's Nashville Electric Service's comparatively, there are companies that are a lot bigger that have many fewer outages.
Yeah, and there are some very scurrilous accusations online regarding Nashville's electric company trying to save money by refusing help from unionized workers. So this is a whole thing.
Hang on, I would think that the Democratic-leaning, left-leaning government of Nashville would go for it. They'd want their union workers.
You would think. I saw this yesterday. It looks like a social media post. Cold, blame the NES administration, Nashville Electric Service. A guy named Nick Smith posted this accusation. There are about 18,000 of us that just got released from different utilities. We are union, and NES are cheap and won't pay our rates. So they let the customers suffer. He says, blast them. 275 linemen is a joke. Duke Energy had 18,000 linemen alone. So Duke Energy, of course, is that's like multiple states, and we're talking about just Nashville Electric. So Fox 17 picks up the story from there. We're going to get into this. I've got audio only on this. This is Fox 17. And the question is Nashville Electric, are they doing all that they can to get the 106,000 people back up and running? This is how the Fox 17 story went.
Nashville Electric Service is now being called out for allegedly refusing help from available lineman crews to restore power. I spoke to one IBEW union member who asked to remain unnamed.
I've had a lot of people reach out trying to come to Nashville to help restore power. They keep getting the same answer that NES is full. They don't need help. I just don't think they want to pay the union rates.
I mean, that's a pretty scurrilous accusation. It is. Now,
I have a different one.
What's yours, Sam?
We grew too fast. The infrastructure in this town and in this county obviously cannot keep up with the population boom, and we're more concerned about selling real estate than we are improving the infrastructure.
I mean, same thing happened in Spring Hill. I mean, they grew, in my opinion, way too fast. A woman named Anna sent this to me. She works with us. She lives in Bellevue, And Bellevue was one of the worst hit areas. They've got neighborhoods without power. She says that AT&T phones have limited signals. Verizon seems to be okay. Listen to this, though, and I can feel it because I've been here, done that. People are using backyards as refrigerators. They can't get out of their neighborhoods. They're using plastic to tape up rooms, and they're cooking outside as well. So this is obviously very rough, especially, by the way, if you have kids. And so the question is, and Joan, you were talking about this, which is, okay, so why is it you've got other cities and other places that have populations that are higher than Nashville's, and they don't seem to have a problem getting the electricity back on? This is more from Fox 17.
Another IBEW lineman who also asked not to be named tells me he and about 18,000 others were initially staged in North Carolina. After what turned out to be a milder storm there, they were reassigned, but not to Nashville. He's now working with Middle Tennessee Electric, which has tens of thousands of fewer outages than NES.
Why are we 10 minutes down the road with 2,000 outages whenever we could be 15 minutes to Nashville and help out, with 215 broken poles? I mean, non-union or union, they could bring in way more people.
So, if this is true, and NES, they're denying this. I've got some of their response coming up. But if it's true, that is obviously infuriating. So the basic story is that Nashville Electric refuses to hire enough linemen to get all the power back on. Now, again, that is a very big allegation. And by the way, what do linemen do? They're the ones you see in like those big lifts, those big like crane looking things. And they're trying to fix the poles and the wires and all of that. And the question is, if we had more linemen, if NES hired more linemen, then would all of those people, especially, I guess, in West Nashville, would they be able to get the power on quicker?
NES was asked directly today during a press briefing if they refused any help.
As far as we know, no, we are sticking to the path of bringing on the crews that we have partnered with and through the mutual aid.
I sent NES an email asking who they've turned away, why, and if it involved any unions. I didn't yet receive an answer.
All right. This is from the Nashville scene. The union that works with NES is SEIU, the Service Employees International Union. They say that management has not turned away any workers. They want to see power restored, and their crews are pulling 16-hour shifts. But then this line caught my eye. This is from a woman named Maura Lee Albert, and she apparently works with the SEIU. Albert does point out that NES has not grown its employee base in a decade, leaving the utility with an undersized workforce. And Sam, this kind of goes with what you were saying. She says NES should, at a minimum, have 150 more employees in frontline positions. Albert tells the scene, we don't need any more engineers. There's always work to be done, and very few existing employees work just 40 hours a week at NES. They are working lots of overtime. We need to scale up because we are a growing city. So, she says, no more engineers. They need frontline workers. I will point out that this woman, of course, is from Nashville Electric and SEIU, the Service Employees International Union. So it would be to their benefit for NES to bring in more linemen because that means that they would have more union representation. Anyway, so now you've got a lot of people, they're starting petitions. They're blasting NES. And by the way, hey, Sam, let's open up the phone lines. I want to know what people are going through if we, have a lot of people. I kind of assume that if you got a lot of people without power, then they're probably not necessarily, listening to us. They're probably trying to stay warm. Maybe they've got battery-operated radios on. But if you're, having trouble, give us a call at 615-737-9986 and let us know what you are experiencing. But you have people starting petitions. They're blasting NES on the socials. And I don't know whether they have enough employees or not, but you do have these accusations on the socials. Plus, again, this woman from the SEIU who says that they do need more employees. So that is a big question. What does Nashville Electric need to do, number one, to get people back up and running? Number two, did they actually refuse help from, all of these other linemen because they were union? And number three, what do they need to do moving forward to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Because we've got and it does seem, look, I'm no expert, but it does seem like, what are we at now, Sam and Joan? We're a couple of days past the big ice fall, right?
It hit on Saturday. Yep.
So it does seem like we should have, maybe I'm just, Pollyannish, but it does seem like we should have people back up and running. I was in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we had a big ice storm there, and our power was down for a couple of days, and then they got it, back up and running. So I am a little befuddled why we don't have everybody's power back on. NES, by the way, does say that they do have enough linemen. They are not refusing help. That's what NES says. We do have mutual aid agreements with crews from states like Florida, Maryland, Kentucky, Indiana, according to Grok. They have also scaled up to over 700 line workers in the field that are working, they say, around the clock. NES posted this to their account last night. Prioritize restoration. They're talking about how they do things in stages. First thing they do is they try to get essential services back on, which is hospitals and police and fire stations and water treatment plants and the like. Joan, is there anything going on in the traffic?
Just the problem that's in Temple at the Temple Hills Golf Club, I guess it is. It's Sneed Road between Temple Road and Old Natchez Trace. It's blocked off.
Okay.
There's some clear trees that came down in that area. That's it.
All right, very good. You've got transmission lines and substations that are next that need to be fixed, main distribution lines, and then individual taps or neighborhoods. And so they say that these are like smaller feeders and single services last. But in Nashville, you've got still entire neighborhoods that are out. NES denies refusing help and states they are using these mutual aid agreements with crews from states like Florida, Maryland, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Mississippi, and other states. They've scaled up, they say, to 700 to 740 line workers in the field, far above their normal 200 to 300 plus contractors. These folks are working 14 to 16-hour shifts around the clock. One comparison noted NES started with fewer linemen than a neighboring utility despite more outages, but they've since ramped up significantly. And we do have, last time I checked, and Joan, your number was 106,000?
106,000 this morning.
Okay, so slowly but surely, they are getting, people back up and running.
So that's weird. It just changed to 108. 108,315.
Okay. And I showed earlier this morning 110,000. So I don't really know how they measure such things.
I've got some interesting numbers. You said that they haven't grown, NES hasn't grown in a decade as far as staffing and things go.
According to the woman from SEIU.
Okay. So the population in Nashville, Davidson County has grown by about 300 to 350,000 in the last decade. And the amount of housing, this would be condos, apartments, and single-family homes, has grown by the tens of thousands. So at that rate, we're not keeping up with the demand of infrastructure that's going out there, which is what I believe. They don't want people to see, as conspiracy hat time, they don't want people to see behind the curtain of how chopped up things are.
Define chopped up.
Well, if you're understaffed, you're not able to do expansion projects. You're not able to do anything extra other than just keep the lights on.
Right.
And then an event like this happens, it exposes you, and that's why you are going to be very, very, scrutinizing and secretive of who's coming in to help.
Here's the big question, because they do have these mutual aid agreements, and so that's the big question. So even if you're right, and I don't know if Sam's right or not, but even if he was right in the fact that they have not actually staffed up and added more people based on the amount that Nashville is growing, you've got these mutual aid agreements with these other states so that when something like this is about to happen, you have people in place. So that even if you don't have the staffing to handle this kind of a situation, well, you've got a whole bunch of people standing by to get you through this particular situation, this particular storm. There are currently many areas with outages of 1,000 customers or more. You've got Brick Church, North Nashville, Bellevue, West Nashville, Hendersonville, Elysian Fields, Madison, Rosebank, East Nashville, Goodlettsville, Forest Hills, and Brentwood. So, oh, look at that. John from NES. John calling from NES. Thanks for calling, John. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right, Dan. Just a little tired. How are you?
I bet. Okay, so are you a NES employee? Do you work with their customer relations? Tell me what you do with NES.
No, I work in a bucket truck every day.
Okay, you're one of those guys that's on the lifts.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what's going on, because you've heard the accusations.
Yeah. So, said we're getting power back on slow, and but from 240,000 to 108 in 3 days is pretty impressive. So we had on day-to-day work. Let's just clear it all up from what everybody's saying. On day-to-day work, without a natural disaster such as this ice storm, we have plenty of workers to keep up. I mean, we do expansion projects, we build new substations, we do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when something like this happens, all the contract crews, besides the ones we have on contract all the time, were all set up, just like the guy from the IBEW said. They were all set up in North Carolina. Nobody staged here. So it took a couple of days for us to get back. We got crews in yesterday from out of state. So, I mean, NES is paying contractors, doing everything we can to get the power back on.
Yeah,
When you lose over half your system, it's going to take a few days.
Yeah.
And it's terrible for everybody. It's terrible. And we're working round the clock. I mean, I got home at 10 o'clock last night, and I'm almost back to Nashville now.
And I don't think John, that people are trying to criticize you frontline workers. The question is, are there enough of you? That's number one. And number two, the accusation from some of these folks are that NES didn't want to bring on more workers because they didn't want to pay the union rates. I mean, do you have a perspective on that?
So I got it. So the number one question was, is there enough workers? So that's a two-sided coin. Day to day, without this situation, yes, we have enough workers. When this happens, obviously, we don't have enough to do it quickly. We got to get help, which is why the contractors are coming in. And then it's question two, as far as refusing help, I can't speak to that. I know that we got contractors with us all over the place, working. I don't know who's been denied or who hadn't. I can't speak to that. But I know there's a bunch of them here. So there are people here helping besides us.
So, John, let me ask you this. You said that people have come in from, like in the last, I think, 24 hours to 48 hours from other states. So, but it takes a while for them to get in, especially with the roads and the ice and everything else. And so, is it unreasonable to expect, like if you had a whole bunch of people that were waiting in North Carolina, is it unreasonable to expect them to actually be in Nashville and ready to go, as opposed to driving in from North Carolina? Because driving in from North Carolina, I mean, you're losing, a day just on travel, aren't you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have to travel for a day. It's all about setup. People were saying it was going to hit North Carolina.
John?
Did you lose him?
I think we lost John.
Going to hit.
Oh, there you are. All right.
And now they're all having to come back. So, yeah, it's not anybody's fault. They went where they thought it was going to hit the worst.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
It is an it's not a perfect science, is it, John?
Right. Not at all. Not at all.
John, how are you guys doing, and the men and women working on the front lines and in the buckets and all those things? How are you guys holding up? Tell me what your day is like. I can't even imagine.
6 in the morning to 8 or 9 at night, and it's constant. When it's cold, I mean, we're out there from all night, and then other crews come in and replace us at night when we leave. So, I mean, it's around the clock.
Are you guys union?
Yes.
You are? Okay. There's like some people that say that there's some groups of workers that are union, others aren't. I have no idea.
Yeah, not everybody's in it. I mean, we're a union, but not everybody's in it.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So, yeah.
Are people when you one more when people see you, are they mad at you or are they happy to see you?
For the most part, we've had pretty nice responses. You always have a few that if their power's out for 5 minutes, they're cussing you out. So, but for the most part, these people are just happy to see us because they know they're fixing to be warm.
Well, John, thank you for what you're doing, and I appreciate your perspective. And good luck today. Be careful; it's a dangerous job, right?
All right, appreciate it, Dan.
All right, see you.
Well, that's cool. It's cool to have the firsthand knowledge of what they're doing.
Yeah, and you know what? And as I said, these are just accusations. I don't have no idea if the accusations are true or not. Fox 17 did the report on it. John didn't seem to know whether or not the accusations that NES didn't want to pay, union workers to come in and get the power back up and running. But I don't know. We'll have to see if NES comes out with a response. Fox 17 didn't have anything. They did not respond to Fox 17, not that I heard. So we'll have to see. They are saying, though, that they've brought in 700 more linemen here in the last 24 hours. And so, there may be people out there that are just a little hurt because they didn't get hired by NES to be brought in and do the work, and maybe they needed to work. I don't know. But to John's point, we went from, remember how many it was, Joan? 330,000 people were without power. They've now got that down to 106,000 or so.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's crazy how many they had in the first place. So a question is, are they not doing the trimming of trees that you see a lot of these electric companies will do in the springtime or over the summer? They'll trim the trees. They'll make it so that if a storm like this hits, there's not so many outages. So are they not doing the pre-work? I don't know.
Well, there's always some old lady that doesn't want her maple tree trimmed, right? There's always that old lady, and then when the entire neighborhood is out of power, people start egging her house, that kind of thing. So I trust me, I've been through that. Anyway, 528, way late. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, this is Pastor Al.
Good morning. It is now 5:32, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Some scary moments for Channel 4 meteorologist Bree Smith. She tells the folks on Facebook yesterday with a Facebook posting that her son was hospitalized after a sledding accident. Here's part of her message.
He had a sledding accident yesterday and has a concussion and 2 fractured vertebrae in his spine. There was a period of time last night where they were worried it was his neck. Thankfully, it was not his neck. And the fractures are minor enough that he should recover, but no more sledding. He's got to take it easy.
Yeah, he's got to take it easy. Sorry about that background music. That was part of the Facebook post. She says her son hit a patch of ice near their Hendersonville home just before crashing. He's going to be okay despite having fractures in a couple of vertebrae. The man who was seen spraying a substance from a syringe onto Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar last night is now in jail. He's facing charges of third-degree assault. Omar had been hosting a town hall when she calls for the removal of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Well, she calls him a bad name there. Omar continued the town hall after that man was hauled out. He's been identified as 55-year-old Anthony Kazmarek. He dropped the syringe on the floor, but officials aren't saying what the substance was that was in it. And here we go again, another performer canceling his act at the Kennedy Center. Composer Philip Glass, supposed to premiere his new symphony, number 15, which he called a portrait of Abraham Lincoln. But then he goes on to say the values of the Kennedy Center are now in direct conflict with the message of his work. So the mid-June performance is now canceled. Roma Daravi is the center's vice president of public relations. She talked to CBS News, but said in a statement that we have no place for politics in the arts, and those calling for boycotts based on politics are making the wrong decision. That is the latest news. Stick around for your traffic and weather. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. to watch it at the Temple Hills Golf Course area. There's some trees that have come down on the roadway. So Smead Road between Temple Road and Old Natchez Trace, that is closed off this morning while they're working on it. And on Lewisburg Pike in Franklin, it's blocked off there as well. MTE is working on repairs. The roadway, Lewisburg Pike closed. Mac Hatcher Boulevard to Church Street. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News. All right, so Sam, Joan, I've not seen this Ilhan Omar syringe attack.
Put that in air quotes, if you would, please.
Attack with air quotes. So I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to react to it in real time, okay? Because everybody's saying, Sam, you think this is fake?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Sam thinks this is fake.
Multiple reasons I can tell you later.
All right. I'm going to play this, and for a few folks listening on the radio, we'll go ahead and do a little play-by-play as well. She's up in front of a podium, and she is talking.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Golf clap. So, boy, that happened quick. So the people are clapping, and then this guy walks up with a syringe and sprays her in the chest with a syringe. He got, I think, maybe, I don't know, a couple of squirts. And she, as they're dragging him away, she goes after him like she's going to fight him, right? So she brings up her fist or whatever, like real brave. Like she's going to go after him. Let me play the whole thing so the folks on YouTube can see it.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
So they tackle him and so forth. And
oh my God, he sprayed something on her. I need a napkin to know nothing.
All right, so
Is it kind of surprising?
There we go. Dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah. Is it a little surprising to you that she wasn't more concerned about what that substance might have been?
So
she wanted a napkin.
Yeah. So here's where I'm going with this. Is that if somebody came up and sprayed something on me, I would be a little more defensive. And I probably would want to go to the hospital to make sure that whatever was sprayed on me was not something that was a poisonous agent that would kill me in the next 20 minutes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so to me, there's that. There is the fact that she went towards him like she was going to try to fight him.
Yeah.
As, like, no defensive whatsoever. She doesn't know if this guy's, got a gun, got a bomb strapped. I mean, she has no idea.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no real, defensive measure taken. And to me, that seems a little bizarre. Now, Sam, what do you got on this?
So also notice how it's right at a certain point in her speech about Kristi Noem, right? She either she needs to be impeached or resign, and he immediately gets up, knowing to fight back with, "She's not gonna resign."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How convenient he would throw those words back in her face and come across like a Noem support. What Kristi Noem supporter is going to sit in on Ilhan Omar press conference or whatever? Without, I guess, lobotomizing themselves.
Yeah, there is that. And I think that for Ilhan Omar, that was her line leading up to the spray.
That was a cue.
Yeah, that was a cue. And she knew that if people would watch this on social media, they would pick it up from that point.
Oh, yeah.
Ilhan Omar making a statement about Kristi Noem needs to be, whatever it was, fired or resigned, whatever it is. And so I think that was also perhaps part of it as well. So
hold on. Did you watch any of the videos that were slowed down to show that moment? All right. So I love internet sleuths.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody took the video.
Acting like you aren't one.
Well, I'm just a stalker. So somebody took the video. They they've, I guess, focused right on her. They were able to like get right into her face. She looks at him the second she says it, as in,
it's your
time
turn
to go.
now. Can you email that to me real quick?
I certainly can.
Here's something that people are immediately throwing out there, and I'm 100% on board with the idea. You can't investigate me for fraud. I'm a victim of a hate crime.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is Jussie Smollett, by the way, which was...
That was the first thing I thought of, Joan.
Yeah.
Juicy Smollett. That is the first thing I thought of.
And it just so happens to be after Homan is coming into town and Waltz and Frey are bending the knee about operations that this happens.
Mm-hmm.
Just so happens.
Joan, have you emailed that to me yet?
I have not. I'm still looking because I saw it earlier and I kind of went past it, but I'm going to.
He wants it now.
I know. He's so demanding, that Dan.
But it is interesting, though, that, if she is looking at this guy, like, okay, it's your, if I'm speaking in front of a crowd and I'm Ilhan Omar and some dude in the front row gets up and starts walking towards me, I am immediately on the defensive. I am immediately like, okay, what is this? And then the guy just, takes a shot, and he hits her on the chest. And if I'm somebody that's going to do that, I'm going to hit her in the face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was that wrong to say?
No,
I mean, if I run the risk of being charged with like a felony or whatever, I'm going to make it worth it. I'm going to get her in the face. And by the way, do we know what was in the syringe?
We don't.
We don't, but the rumors are hilarious.
He left the syringe on the floor.
Oh, how convenient.
Yes. He left the syringe on the floor. It's something smelly. Oh. That's what everybody was saying, that it smells really bad. And it was a brownish color. But others were saying that it smelled like vinegar. So, like
apple cider vinegar? Because I think it was
that.
Brown, what the pictures look like.
Which apple cider vinegar would qualify.
Yeah.
All right. So, Joan.
So I sent it to your
I've got it.
Okay.
So for people watching on Super Talk TV, on YouTube, we'll watch this together. And if you're listening on the radio, I'll explain to you what's going on. So she's up there. They've slowed it down. Mm-hmm. She did. She looks right at him.
Yeah.
She looks right at him. Adam is like, it's your turn, dude. It's time to get up. Yep. Right there. She looks right at him. Like she makes the statement. She looks at him and he immediately gets up like it's your turn. That's your cue.
If you were seen a suspicious individual towards the front row of a public speaking event that you were at, would you at least not inch back from the podium a little bit? Give a little bit of inclination or a sign that, all right, there
you
might
recognize he's coming at you.
Yeah, there might be some. Why is this guy staring me down like that?
Right. So, I don't know. I think that
if you see somebody approaching, and obviously the guy was menacing, so he approaches her at this podium and he's menacing, wouldn't you back up? Wouldn't you try to, he had a second
right
before he got to the podium. A natural response would have been to back up or run away. She didn't.
Well, and he also doesn't get as close as he could have gotten. I mean, he could have walked right up to her and doused her, as Dan said, in the face, just right there on the forehead.
Yeah.
But he stands 2 or 3 feet back like he's going to somehow, I mean, anyone that has messed with the little, cough syrup syringes, they don't really shoot very far.
Yeah, I don't get the whole point.
I think it is to obfuscate from the fact that she's currently being investigated, and this is somehow going to give her an out with the community, and it's going to further politicize with her base. Oh, they're just going after her because she's a Somali woman in Congress.
Yeah, she's a victim of a hate crime, so now everything's got to go away, right? So the guy is being charged, and what is he being charged with, Joan? You had it in your newscast.
3rd-degree assault.
3rd-degree assault, which will be pled down to a misdemeanor, and that'll be dismissed by a left-leaning judge, right?
Right.
I mean, that's how this whole thing goes.
Yes. A little handshake, a little nod, wink, wink.
And meantime, this dude gets $5,000 or whatever they get to do such a thing.
That's such an overcharge. In Minnesota, 3rd-degree assault is defined by substantial bodily harm. So they've overcharged him because it's not going to end up sticking.
I was going to say, that's on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of what they do is they'll overcharge someone so that the defense attorneys can say, "Oh, that's that's an overcharge. Why are you charging that much?" And the whole thing is dismissed because it's an overcharge. That's a little trick that these lawyers do.
The definition is as injury involving temporary but substantial disfigurement, temporary substantial loss or impairment of a bodily member or organ, or a fracture.
7732 said, what was her security detail doing?
Waiting for him to be done?
4859 says it's goat pee.
Oh.
It'll make her miss Somalia and go back home.
Oh.
I'm sorry, was I not supposed to read that?
No, that was a good... Listen, Dan, being Somalian is more than bananas and rice. But it's also bananas and rice.
But wait, have you played that video?
I don't even know what that is. What are we talking about?
I hate when I do that.
Yeah.
I hate when you do that too.
Thanks, everybody.
Well,
there was a Somali, American-born Somali woman got up at a press conference with a Band-Aid on her forehead, claiming she'd been assaulted. And then she was saying about how proud she was to be Somali. It's more than bananas and rice.
Oh.
But then it's also bananas and rice.
Can I play a little bit of it for you?
Please.
It's just too funny. Oh,
Somehow it's funnier because she was born here and her accent is American.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. Now,
what?
People don't really.
All right, I've heard
yeah,
of it. So
she keeps on going on, and I'm sorry that the audio.
Here's my question though. So she was born here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then why is she saying, has she ever even been to Somalia?
That's a really good question.
Right.
Her English is really good.
Her English is better than mine.
Yeah.
So here,
it's people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice.
So okay, if I identify as Somalian, can I get some of that fraud money and retire?
I don't think that you can identify. It's not like gender, Dan.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Because I would like to identify as Somalian and be able to retire.
You could, in theory, there are people changing their races. So
are there?
Oh yeah. There's a white guy that's now claims to be Korean through plastic surgery.
Why would he want to be Korean? I mean, no offense to Koreans, but like North or South Korean?
South.
Well,
that's pop culture center of that area. But you could we could get you a permanent full body tattoo that would give you the complexion and
1166 says that Ilhan Omar was sprayed with Summer's Eve. Joan?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot of people with deodorant jokes out the gate.
What? I'm just the messenger. I'm just reading them. That's all I'm doing.
Okay.
So here's if it is apple cider vinegar, which would have a pungenty odor to it, that's actually a healthy thing to be thrown at somebody. So, I don't know what the fuss is about, but there's also rumors it could have been bacon grease, which would definitely be way more disrespectful.
Bacon grease doesn't have that kind of a squirt, though.
Well,
unless you melt it down.
You're about to say he's wearing a winter jacket. He could have a hand warmer in his pocket. There's theories.
Yeah, but he did it through a syringe. I think it's too thick to go through a syringe.
Yeah, bacon grease is too thick to go through a syringe. No, even if it's warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too thick. Now, he could have, with bacon grease, you could have actually, if it's dried, you wad it up into a ball and throw it at her like a snowball. You could have done that. See, the funny thing, we're not taking this seriously because we know that it's not serious.
No.
Right.
This is not a thing.
She should have gone, if this was a serious attack on her life, she should have gone to the hospital and been checked out, had her clothes examined, and whatever this material was, been examined for her safety. But that was not the case. She went right back to business as usual, which is to obfuscate and make her look tough, right? Well, let's avoid the fact of the situation that I'm not leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stand proud, and I'm going to continue to talk.
Yeah. So, the local prosecutors overcharging and the whole thing will then be dropped by a liberal judge, and this guy will, magically walk away scot-free. And I guarantee you that he's got some of that George Soros money coming to him from a local NGO, right? I mean, that's how it works. So there you go. I find it funny. And you know what the thing is? Like the New York Times, the Washington Post, all these places will treat this like it was a serious attack, right? That's what they're going to do.
Absolutely,
They're going to
yes.
treat this like a serious attack when in reality, it's really not.
And the same people that would say, Charlie Kirk was a divisive and hateful figure, overtaking a bullet to the neck. But this, they're gonna kowtow, and they're gonna make sure they hit the base on really hard.
So I read something the other day. So Phil Williams over there at Channel 5, he was defending himself against people saying that he was, and I'm going to have to paraphrase, but he was defending himself online against people that were just saying that he was always going after conservatives. So one of the things that he said to defend himself, and I don't remember where it was on Facebook or X or something, but he said, well, no, because, when Joe Biden had that awful debate performance, I said that Joe Biden should drop out. And he says that he got attacked by a bunch of people for, saying that. And I read that and I thought that it was kind of funny because it was like, wait a minute, Phil. Literally everybody that I know in talk radio and in conservative media was saying that Joe Biden needed to step down at least a year and a half before that. Mm-hmm. For Phil Williams and others to come out and say, well, after the debate performance, I said that he wasn't, fit to run for a second term. You had no choice at that point. You had to. So I'm sorry if you're not going to get a medal for bravery for coming out and saying that, Phil, but you had no choice after that debate. Everybody was saying that. Now, it was those of us on our side and talk radio that were saying it for a long time that, Joe Biden clearly had, some issues with his mental acuity. And so for those of us who were saying it for a long time, all of a sudden the left, and Phil Williams is included in that, comes out and says, well, he's got to not run for re-election. He's got to step down from the campaign. Well, the only reason they were saying that is because they were worried that he was going to lose. So I thought that was kind of funny that Phil said that on social media as some sort of a defense against him not being a leftist, when I think that most people now realize that he is. All right, it is 5:57 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Joan's got the news at 6. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, we'll take a look at what the media is saying about that Ilhan Omar attack. I'll bring it to you coming up here at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning now, 6:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. 19 degrees right now. Partly cloudy. There are some patches of fog this morning as well. Stick around. Stefano's got the forecast coming up. The mother of Antioch High School shooter Solomon Henderson has turned herself in. 40-year-old Krista Thomas had been living in Las Vegas, and News 2's Haley Wilgus says that police have been searching for her for the last year.
She was wanted for unlawful gun possession by a convicted felon. Police say her DNA was found on the gun that her son is accused of using to kill a classmate and wound another.
After that deadly shooting last January, the rest of the Henderson family moved from their home on Carefree Lane in Antioch to what they said was an unknown destination. Turns out she was in Las Vegas. NES's outage map shows 106,000 customers are still in the dark this morning. It's bringing a lot of criticism, despite the company claiming they added to the 700 line workers they started the day with yesterday. Line workers have reportedly been brought in from Florida, Maryland, Kentucky, and several other places. They say that tree trimmers are also being added to the force. And the media perspective of that alleged attack at a town hall hosted by Congresswoman Ilhan Omar last night. This is ABC reporter taking this story very seriously.
The man was immediately detained by what looks like private security, and those around her say that they want her to end the town hall. There are concerns for her safety. There are concerns about what exactly may have been sprayed on her, and she says that she wants to continue the town hall. She is continuing to speak. The town hall goes on, but obviously this flashpoint, this interaction coming really in the early moments of it beginning.
Jay O'Brien is ABC's Washington, D.C. correspondent. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
It was a tale of two markets on Tuesday, with the S&P climbing 0.4% to close at an all-time high. The Nasdaq surging 1%. The Dow Jones, weighed down by losses for United Health, lost more than 400 points, finishing a hair above 49,000. With fewer American couples starting families and immigration slowing to a crawl, the Census Bureau says U.S. population growth fell last year to its lowest since the pandemic. The country added only 1.8 million to its numbers. As tax filing season begins this week, a government watchdog group warns that customer service may be hard to come by and refunds delayed. The IRS is facing staffing shortages, overdue tech updates, and a growing backlog of filings. Amazon's Fresh and Go stores are going away. The retailer says it plans to convert some of the locations to Whole Foods markets as it expands its same-day grocery delivery services to more areas. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures are on the plus side, with the Dow up 24. The NASDAQ futures, though, up 248. S&P futures are gaining 25 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. All right, it's light volume again this morning, but just keep in mind that Sneed Road at the Temple Hills Golf Club is closed. Temple Road to Old Natchez Trace, they're trying to remove some trees. In Franklin, Lewisburg Pike between Mac Hatcher Boulevard and Church Street, that's closed down because they're also working on some damage from the storm. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you're doing well, and welcome on into a Wednesday, January 28th. And there is a lot going on. We still have a whole bunch of people without power, specifically in Nashville. So we're going to continue to cover that for you, as well as many other topics out there today. We do have Senator Marsha Blackburn. She's going to be on with us at 6:35 here on Nashville's Morning News. Brian Wilson will join us at 7. And Senator Bill Hagerty may be calling in as well at some point in the 8 o'clock hour. So we have a lot to get to. Governor Bill Lee was on with Matt Murphy yesterday. Sam, this is audio only. The governor was on with Matt Murphy yesterday. And this is big news, and it kind of flew under the radar, I believe. But Governor Lee now says that he has signed an executive order to try to get the roads open faster so that crews can get to the power lines quicker to fix them. This was Governor Bill Lee yesterday with Murphy Show.
Part of the challenge right now is the county systems that are struggling to keep up with debris cleanup and whatnot. So I actually signed an executive order today that would authorize TDOT to do some work which previously could only be done by the counties, because TDOT's got the roads in good shape all over the state, and because of that we have resources to help counties with cleanup. So we were prepared, and the response has been really good. Nevertheless, there's still people without power and without heat, and it's a really tough spot, but there is a lot of work being done. I was with linemen last night, actually, at 11:30, and they're out there, been doing 16-hour shifts. They're working all night long. I was with TDOT workers today that are out there 24/7. So the teams are working. In fact, we've got linemen coming from other states or that are already here from other states, because we're the state that got hit the worst as far as the ice and the outages. So there's a full-on effort, and progress is very steady.
Very steady indeed. Some would say slow but steady, but they're working on it. I was talking about this in the 5 o'clock hour. Some of the people that I've heard from and what they're going through, particularly a friend of mine in Bellevue, one of the hardest hit areas, and she talks about how they are still without power in Bellevue. She also says that AT&T phones have very limited signals. Verizon does seem to be okay, and that people are using backyards as refrigerators. They can't get out of their neighborhoods as well. They're using plastic to tape up rooms and cooking outside, and just everything that people without power have had to go through. And Joan, I don't know if you've been without power yourself during your time in Maryland on the East Coast.
Oh,
but
yeah.
When I was in Fort Wayne, we were down for like about 2 or 3 days. And you do whatever you can to try to stay warm. And, some people are trapped inside of their neighborhood because of the ice and they just can't get out.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to this. It's not just, well, can't you go to a hotel? Well, if you can, number one, afford a hotel, but those are expensive, number one. And number two, there's people that are trapped and they can't get out because of the ice. And so that's why, Bill Lee, the governor there, and he's talking about signing this executive order to allow TDOT to help to clear the roads so that the line crews can get in there to try and fix the power problems that we have. We have 110,000 people in Nashville that are out of power still. They're working hard. I covered extensively in the 5 o'clock hour these accusations from some on social media that are saying that NES, Nashville Electric, they don't have enough people to get the power back on, and they're actually saying, no, we don't want help from certain people because they are union, and that NES just is refusing to pay those union wages. Those are scurrilous accusations that are online. And again, I covered that extensively in the 5 o'clock hour. NES is saying that is not true, that they're bringing in a whole bunch of people. In fact, an additional 700 they have brought on here in the last 24 hours. And they have said that, we have union employees. So the issue is not that we don't want to bring in union people. The problem is just that this is, once in a 30 or 40-year storm. And this ice that they got, the ice that we got, is just, it was a massive, massive storm, and they're doing everything that they can to get through it. One of the things that I would ask is, okay, so does more line workers, because that's the accusation, they don't have enough line workers, and because they don't have enough line workers, they don't have everybody back up and running. The question is, does more line workers, would that translate to getting everyone's power back on? Because we do still have power outages in North Nashville, in West Nashville, Bellevue area, Hendersonville, Elysian Fields, Madison, East Nashville, Goodlettsville, Forest Hills, and Brentwood, among many other places. And so, Nashville Electric, they're going to have to deal with these accusations and regain the trust of the people in Nashville because, the question is, okay, so we had 300,000 plus that were without power. Now, a couple of days later, we are now down to 108, 110,000 that are still without power. And is that considered good or not? Like, how do you gauge the success or failure of a mission? I think that's one of the big questions that are out there. That executive order, by the way, that Bill Lee signed, which, again, is important, he did mention that what this will do is allow those state resources through TDOT to be used at the county level to clear those roads.
They are still dangerous, and there's a lot of trees still out on roads, and crews have to clean that up. And in a lot of counties, that is up to the county road crews. TDOT does state highways and interstates, but when you get to county roads, that's a county issue. And we have the resources because TDOT's been planning for it and kind of got ahead of the game a little bit. And that EO just allows TDOT to then support that debris cleanup on county roads. Hopefully that will, speed up their process and get those roads open. One of the biggest challenges is getting a road open so road crews, so linemen can get to the power poles, right? So if they can't get to the poles, and they have chainsaws of their own, but it just slows them down. So if we can get TDOT workers on a county road to clean up a passageway, then they can get power to the most remote folks that are still sitting there without a generator. Maybe they're sitting there in the cold and it's 15 degrees tonight.
Yeah, remember that you have TDOT or the county, they've got to clear out the roads of trees and ice and such so that the power companies can come in and do their jobs. There was a lot of planning. It's really interesting. We had a guy from NES call up in the 5 o'clock hour, and he was talking about how they've been working 16-hour shifts. And he didn't really have anything to say. He didn't know anything about the accusations that NES would not bring on union workers, which is a story that was covered on Fox 17. It was part of a big accusation that was going on social media that NES refused to bring on union workers, and therefore they were short on employees to get the power back up and running. But, you just heard the governor on Murphy's show yesterday. There was a lot of planning, and it does seem, at least to me, like the planning was spot on. One of my questions would be okay, so you did have crews in place, and TDOT was ready to go. The power companies are doing what they do, although, again, we do still have a lot of people without power this morning. So ultimately, my question is, you had a lot of these power company employees, these contractors that were based in or on standby in North Carolina, waiting for, the the storm to pass, the ice storm to pass, and so they could come in and immediately get to work. You've got NES employees, and then you've got these contractors that they come in and they supplement the employees for NES to try to get the power back on. And my only question would be, why can't we have them based here in Nashville? If they're waiting to come in and they're in North Carolina, storm passes, then the question is, as the storm passes, you're talking about at least half a day to a full day to travel into Nashville. Could that process be done quicker if they were waiting and stage in the city of Nashville? It is 6:17. Real quickly, Joan, what's happening in traffic?
Let's see. We've got a blockage at Temple Hills Golf Course this morning. It's Sneed Road between Temple Road and Old Natchez Trace. Also, the Lewisburg Pike area in Franklin between Machatcher Boulevard and Church Street. That's closed down because of damage from the storm. Roadways are running okay. It's just a little bit slow this morning, so you may need a few extra minutes to get in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Very good. As far as your weather for today, partly cloudy, a high of 33, feeling like 31. Appreciate you listening. So a guy called, and that's why the traffic was a little awkward. The guy was on the phone with Sam, and he posed a question about Nashville Electric Service.
This guy may or may not have been, or continues to be, or may have been an electrical worker.
Anonymous.
Yeah, he was anonymous. He said if it's not about rates or unions, then how come the only time an IEBW employee worker is hired is when it's state appointed? So if NES, his claim is that if NES is left up to their own devices to make the choice on hiring people, they go non-union almost all the time because the rates are lower.
Okay.
And the other union reference, SCIUW, whatever.
SCIW.
They're not even apparently on the same scale as IEBW when it comes to line work.
Okay. All right, very good. Yeah, there's different unions. I don't pretend to even know all of the different unions that are involved here. I know that there are a lot of different unions. You've got different unions. You have guys that and women who are not in the union. And when these kinds of things happen, where you've got these big storms and you've got these agreements with other states where, we've got, big power outages, and then we got all of these workers to come in from other states to supplement state employees or union employees or utility employees, whatever it is. Well, I don't know if those people are union or required to be union or not. And I don't think, can I just be honest? I don't think that, people in West Nashville right now who don't have power, I don't think they give a crap if these employees are union or not. They just want their power back on. Because they've been without power for 3 days now, 2 or 3 days now. So,
and NES is also saying that they may not get power until Friday or beyond. So
wow.
And we're not talking about a period of time where it's warm enough to survive.
Yeah.
Temps this morning we're at 19 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, and that's what Bill Lee was talking about how it is really cold. Matt Murphy did ask him, when will the power be back on for everyone?
Yeah, that's hard to know because you got people in some of these rural counties that are way down the end of the line. And we know that those folks are going to be hard to reach, and it may take days to get there.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm sort of stupefied because I just don't understand. Okay, so with NES, if you need more people, bring in more people. And because they just brought in, I think they said about 700 more people. Well, okay, if you brought in an additional 200 or an additional 300, then could you get all the power back on within a couple of days? I know that it's not easy, and I know that there's a lot of things, a lot of calculations, and a lot of things that they have to deal with. But it just seems to me like if you've still got 109, 110,000 people that are without power in Davidson County, then you need to surge that county and get these people back up. And I know that it's difficult to just say, well, you're going to have to wait. But here's the deal. Some of these people can't wait. Some of these people, they are in rural communities, really rural communities, or not so rural. I mean, you got people in Bellevue, in neighborhoods that are like, our power's still not back on. And it's not like Bellevue is in the middle of nowhere.
There's also things like, convalescent homes rehab centers, hospitals. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
of course, they're going to be on generator. They're going to have some backup power, but those systems aren't designed to last for forever.
Right. Well, and I think those are the places where they get those back up and running first. There's like a hierarchy of who gets their power turned back on first, and usually it's like the hospitals and those kinds of areas, convalescent hospitals and so forth. They get their power turned back on first. Again, it's like a hierarchy. The Nashville Fire and Police Departments, by the way, they have opened up their stations as warming centers. You also have community shelters being opened up as well. They've been open for several days now. There's one at Nashville's Fairgrounds, by the way. Pets are allowed there. Bill Lee and a lot of folks in government are talking about these warming shelters and, resources where people can, go to stay warm.
Where people are going to be without heat for a long period of time, we have 115 warming centers that are open statewide, so people can find a place if they can have a neighbor get them transport to those spots. But we have overnight shelters, 100 of them around the state. TN.gov/TEMA has all the information about that. Those warming centers are important. We've actually sadly have 7 folks that have lost their life in this, and some of them from hypothermia. So it is a difficult spot for a lot of people. We got nonprofits all over the state that are food banks and warming centers and Salvation Army and Red Cross, and those are Tennessee volunteers kind of engaging churches all over the state. So be encouraged. Tennesseans are doing what they do, and they're working really hard to take care of one another.
All right, this is Dave calling real quickly. He's out in Lafayette. And Dave, what is going on out there?
We're entering day 4 with no electricity. It went out Sunday. But overnight last night, I live out in the county, but overnight last night, the city of Lafayette apparently had a water main break. So there's a lot of us in Macon County now that has no electricity or water.
Wow.
And,
so no electricity, Dave, and no water. Now, can you get out of your neighborhood? Can you get out of your town or off your property?
Yes, I can get off my property. It's funny. I'm out looking for a porta john at the moment on a job site. But yeah, because we have no water. You can't flush the toilet. So it's I know Nashville's a big city, but we need help.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you do. How are the people in your general area? How are they dealing with all of this? How are they doing spirit-wise? How are they doing psychologically?
Well, it's tough. I mean, I was fortunate to get a propane bottle. I'm sorry, and I'm warm, but it's. Like I said, it's just tough right now.
Are you alone?
My wife is at her son's house. I took her there Sunday.
Yeah.
But, I want to be home because, things, I have to take care of stuff at home. But I've taken her to her son's house. He lives in Kentucky. So they're fine. But yeah, I'm just kind of toughing it out at home and, doing what I have to do.
I don't know. How do you find a porta potty? Like, it's six. Dave, it's like 6:25 in the morning, and you're running around trying to find a porta potty. I feel terribly for you, Dave.
Anywhere there's houses being built, any kind of job site like that, there's usually a facility that can be found.
Okay. Well, Dave, listen, I wish I had something else besides prayer to tell you. I wish I had a porta potty in my back pocket that I could send you via,
I understand.
Yeah.
But no, I just wanted to let people know that, it's not only Nashville. It's us country folk too.
Yeah, and I know you country folk are tough, Dave, and good luck and stay in touch with us if you would,
yeah,
okay?
Dave, we'll be praying. Hang in there, bud.
Thank you.
Oh, that breaks
boy.
my stinking heart.
Yeah, you know what? When we get a call like that from Dave, I start tearing up. I really do, and it's like, oh man.
And you know what? He's not the only one. Like, can you imagine how many others are out there and they've got the same experience? And
Yeah.
you know.
And he's without his loved ones. You know, he's without his wife. So yeah, he is all alone. It sounds
he
like.
is alone. Yeah.
So prayers for everybody. I know it's tough. It is 6:27, and Joan's got the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, so there was another Border Patrol shooting yesterday. We'll tell you why you really haven't heard about this one. It's coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandison. Boy, yes, it is cold right now. And a lot of folks, of course, probably you, indoors. But at some point, we are going to see that sun again and even go outside and enjoy the outdoors. And you want to look and feel your best and more confident. And Contours can help with targeted fat loss with red light therapy. And they can get you started for just $99 to see if it works for you. No contracts, no gimmicks, just a guarantee that you are going to lose 2 inches across the middle or that first visit is free. Now, I've done it. Matt's done it. Now it is your turn. It takes an hour a week, is FDA cleared. Obviously, it doesn't hurt, and no, it doesn't damage you. It's red light-based technology. It's all the rage these days. It is new, and it works. And Contours specializes in it for targeted fat loss, facials, and a whole lot more. Now, you go, you try it, you like it. Buy a Belly Buster package, and you get 3 free maintenance visits. That saves you $1,500. But you know, it does begin with that $99 special. That gets you that first consultation and treatment. And right now, the first 10 callers get it, $99. And you see results or it is free. First 10 callers right now, 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960 for Contours. 615-236-9960. Online at ContoursLLC.com. Contours, what do you have to lose but inches?
Jones with your top stories. Crews, they're chipping away at the massive power outages in the Nashville area, but so many are still in the dark. NES's power outage map shows 106,000 still without electricity. MTE calls it at 800. It's 6,000 for Cumberland Electric. The death toll has risen to 8 in Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee signing an executive order that expands TDOT's power to hire extra crews to clear state roads. What a difference. An Arizona man was shot by a Border Patrol agent yesterday, but this time there was no staged protest. The man allegedly fired at agents while he was trying to get away.
Unlike in Minneapolis and Pima County, Arizona, local and federal investigators are working together to investigate Tuesday morning's Border Patrol shooting. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano says law enforcement working together works better and all sides are transparent with one another.
It's all about public trust. We get that here in Pima County, and this is something we've been doing for a number of years.
He says a 34-year-old Arizona resident who was shot by the Border Patrol agent after allegedly being caught illegally smuggling in migrants has a long criminal history, including for human smuggling. He's in serious but stable condition. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Stock futures all pointing up this morning. That's the latest news. Your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
This is a paid endorsement by a current client.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis. You've heard me talk about Paul Winkler for years, and there is a very good reason. When it comes to investing, Paul Winkler Inc. is different. They got 10 offices across Middle Tennessee, never, ever any commissions. Now, this week, Paul Winkler is doing something I've always loved. Back to Basics Week. It is designed for everybody, no matter your education, no matter your experience, or how much money you are investing. Paul is going to answer all your questions. You know, he's going to break down stuff most people are maybe too embarrassed to ask, like what's the real difference between stocks and bonds? Why do financial experts always seem to disagree? And how many stocks does it actually take to be diversified? Now, you hear about gold, right? You hear about gold, CDs, Bitcoin, real estate. Which are real investments and which aren't? Now, Paul is going to explain the two biggest investing philosophies that you're going to see out there and how to know which one your advisor is using, the evidence behind each approach, and the potential cost of choosing the wrong one. They'll even help you answer one of the biggest questions people struggle with: Roth or pre-tax for retirement? What really makes sense for you? And by the way, if you think that you're paying more than you should, you probably are as far as management fees. Now, these fees are often just the tip of the iceberg, and Paul is going to show you what is underneath. Now, if you want clarity, confidence, and a plan that actually makes sense, go to paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com. .638, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's get right to the Newsmaker Hotline where Senator Marsha Blackburn is joining us. And Senator, I'm sorry we're running so late. We've been taking some phone calls from folks that still don't have power here in Nashville. I know that, obviously you know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's been rough here for a lot of folks.
Well, we're one of those houses. I'm back in D.C. working, but my husband is at home, and we're one of those houses that we still do not have power. And I certainly can empathize with those individuals that are still trying to get their homes back to normal. And it is really quite frustrating. I do know that NES had a high of 230,000 customers, and now they're down to about 125,000 that are still without power. And I also know that the National Guard, the Highway Patrol, local law enforcement, EMS, Public Works, they're all out there working, and God bless them for working. But, it's like my husband said, we're going to have plenty of firewood for anybody that wants to load a pickup truck of firewood because of all the tree damage. And I think many people are in the same boat, and we would all like to get get back in our homes, be able to assess the damage and get those repairs started. And, we've had 8 weather-related fatalities in the state, and we mourn that loss of life. I will say this, I'm grateful that Governor Lee got the emergency declaration into the president before the storm hit. So FEMA was able to activate resources to TEMA immediately. The president did us a solid. He approved that the minute it hit his desk. So that's a really hopeful sign.
Yeah, it is, Senator. And we can always, I know that here in Tennessee, we can always count on President Trump. And I think the Governor Lee has done a great job in getting all of the staging planned. So good luck on your home. I know that there's a lot of people that are listening right now and, looking for the power to be turned back on as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's turn to some matters in Washington, D.C., because there's a lot going on.
Sure.
And I got to tell you, we'll get to Minnesota here in a second, but related, the Democrats are threatening a government shutdown over DHS funding. Basically, they want to, in one way or another, cut the funding for ICE and cut the funding also for the Border Patrol, and they're willing to shut down the government over it. Here we are on this Wednesday, the 28th of January. Have you heard anything new about the looming government shutdown? I think Friday night, right? Friday night into Saturday morning.
That's correct. And we will probably be here Friday working on these issues. But we really do not think, most of the Democrats do not have an appetite for shutting the government down. Bear in mind, FEMA funding, all your emergency response funding comes out of that Homeland Security budget. And we know also that Tom Homan has gone into Minnesota and he is working on a reset with the governor, with the mayor, and hopefully we will see some change there. But most people do not have an appetite for a shutdown. And one of the important things, Dan, is that we have got to get off this Biden bloated budget and onto a Trump and Republican budget. And in these discretionary accounts, we're actually spending less than what Biden was spending. And ICE is appropriated less than what ICE was appropriated under the CR. So their arguments are just, they don't like Trump, they don't like Republican control, they want to cause chaos, and to think that they would defund DHS when we have had a massive winter storm that has impacted 200 million Americans. I mean, that is just unseemly.
Well, and we'll have to see if Chuck Schumer and the Democrats actually decide to go down that road, because I think you're right. I think there's a lot of, they know that they were on the losing end of the narrative last time around. We'll have to see what they decide to do this time. You mentioned President Trump looking for a reset in Minnesota, and there seems to be some sort of a debate, Senator, as to whether or not the president is retreating a bit in Minnesota after the shooting of this Alex Preddy. Some are saying that it's a bit of a retreat. Others are saying that the president is actually getting what he wants, which is more help at the local level. What do you think about all that?
Yes, and indeed, what Homeland Security Secretary Noem, they had tried to work with local law enforcement. And Dan, I have used the example of what we've done in Memphis and what you see in Minnesota. In Memphis, you've got a mayor, you've got a police chief, you've got over 20 federal agencies, the National Guard, the Highway Patrol, the TBI. They are all working together. In 120 days, the crime rate has come down over 50%, the lowest it has been since 2001. And you are seeing over 6,000 arrests, over right about 1,000 illegal weapons taken off the street, and the recovery of 148 missing children. And Memphis is kind of the model for how to get things done. And then in Minneapolis, they have not opened the jails. They have not been turning these criminals over. And that is what Homan would like to see done. So that way they're not having to go out in the community after someone has been released from jail and apprehend people that are violent criminals, murderers, rapists, have committed robbery, have committed aggravated assault, child sexual assault. These are all people that are being picked up. These are people that have orders of deportation against them, but have been shielded and have not been deported. And what they're looking for is to be able to have these individuals turned over to them instead of being released from the jail, and that way they can carry out the trial or they can carry out the deportation. They want to do targeted operations, and they would like to move for that. And they would like the cooperation of local law enforcement and be able to take the temperature down. You know, when you look at states like Louisiana, I think, and Texas and Tennessee, you've probably had more arrests take place in some of our states than in Minnesota, but they're not headlines. And it is because we have great sheriffs and police chiefs and great elected officials at the local level that are saying, we don't want these criminals in our community here. Go ahead and we will turn them over to you. And I think that that's what they want to see in Minnesota, and getting this on track. Tom Homan's a good man. I think he'll be able to do that.
Senator, let me ask you this question. Senator Marsha Blackburn is joining us. The polling, and I don't buy the polling, but there's polling out there that says that President Trump is losing independence. There's a number of reasons for that. Number one, they're saying the economy is still a challenge, which I understand. There's still some challenges there with the economy. But just from a sheer political standpoint, you've got a lot more experience in politics than I do. Do you really believe that President Trump and Republicans are losing independence?
And you're not seeing that much attrition among independents. What they want is to see problems addressed. And Donald Trump is a president of action. He assesses a problem and he decides what a solution is, and then he moves forward. That's called real leadership. And as I say so many times, the difference is, and what you need is leadership is about leading people and building out that narrative and saying, this is the problem, this is how we solve it, and building the team to solve that problem. Management is looking at assets. And what President Trump is doing is say he's assessing these problems. The economy, inflation was high. It was 9.1%. It is now down to around 2.5%, 2.6, 2.7. And that's a positive step, still not low enough. And the price of gas and groceries has not come down enough. We also have to realize that under Biden's 4 years, they added $8 trillion to the debt in those 4 years. And that elevated government spending drove up that inflation. This is why it's important that we pass these appropriations bills and get off that Biden budget and onto a Trump budget. So there is plenty of work left to do. And, we spend a lot of time doing cleanup work, decisions that were made and had an adverse effect. You look at what happened with energy production and the amount of time we have put into baseload energy, whether it's new clean coal or nuclear, and building out an energy generation process in Tennessee that is going to help to get the cost of energy down. You look at what is happening with hydrocarbons and fuel and gas at the pump and getting that price down. That means, yes, indeed, we continue to open up these leases in the Gulf and in Alaska and set a target for how many leases they want to hit by the time we get to 2030. And that production capability, that refinery capability, in keeping that in place, whether it's our large refineries or our small refineries, that is going to help to get the price of gas down. And the $12 billion supplement payment that the president just made to the ag community, that is to help them so that we're getting crops in the ground and focusing on food security. So there are steps that are being taken that are going to help. The Working Families Tax Cut, or Big Beautiful Bill as it was called, went into effect at the first of the year. As people are filing their income tax, they are going to see that they're going to get a larger refund. Our senior citizens are going to benefit. Every senior citizen is going to get a $6,000 bonus deduction. And Dan, as you know, I have worked for years to get the tax off Social Security for our seniors, and we achieved that in the bill, and I was thrilled we got that provision in. So a couple that is 65 and over, married filing jointly, they're going to have a $12,000 bonus deduction when they get to the bottom of that page. And that will get that tax off those Social Security earnings that they are reporting on their income tax filing. People that work on tips, no tax. People that are working overtime, they're going to see no tax. So those are provisions that are going to make a difference, and those refunds are going to be larger.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I know that you've been on the front lines of dealing with the online ticket scalpers and how Americans have been exploited by that. I know it's not necessarily top of the headlines right now, but this is something that if you've bought tickets to a concert, try to buy these tickets online, it is not only really difficult, but it's also really expensive. There's been some hearings recently on this, and can you give us an update on that?
Yes, the president actually did an executive order on it a couple of months ago, and I have a hearing today. Live Nation Ticketmaster will be in front of me, as well as Kid Rock, Robert Ritchie. Our Kid Rock is going to be one of the witnesses that are here. And important to realize is that these scalpers and these bots that are scooping up these tickets, it drives up the price sometimes 100, 200, 300, 400%. And they go in, they scrape these. Ticketmaster has said, we can't do anything about it. So the Federal Trade Commission has sued them. I've got them in front of me today. I chair the committee that oversees this. So we're going to have a hearing. We have got to make certain that if you're going to a performance, a show, a Broadway show, a sporting event, that these bots are not scooping these up. The resellers are putting them online. Ticketmaster makes a part of the business all along the way. And one of the things that I pointed out when we had a hearing on this a few years ago and pointed out to the Ticketmaster CEO, who at that point said, well, we can't stop all of these bots. I said, wait a minute, the local power company gets hit several times a day by bots. I mean, hundreds of times. of people that are trying to get into their critical infrastructure. The local power company is able to stop the bots. But you, Ticketmaster, the biggest in the business, want to tell me you can't police the bots? I mean, this is just ridiculous. So what they've done is turn a blind eye to this and have allowed these bots to scrape these tickets and these resellers to make a lot of money, and then it drives people out of the marketplace. And when an artist is hearing from their fans and being said, why are your tickets so expensive? The artist has nothing to do with this because the artist gets none of that money as it goes through that process of the bots and the scraping and the reselling and the jacking up of the price.
Now, Senator, most important question. What was Kid Rock's reaction when you told him that he had to wear a suit today?
You know what? I told him he could come in and wear. It doesn't matter to me what he's going to wear, and I'm just delighted that he is going to show up. And it's Gene Simmons from KISS was a witness in a hearing that we had at Judiciary Committee about AI. And he showed up wearing black leather and sunglasses. So
I saw that.
Yeah, I just want to get it all on the record because making certain that we protect the integrity of the performance industry, the music industry, our sports, and that people are able to buy these tickets and enjoy these events and be able to take their family to these events. That is what we want to do. And this is an unfair trade practice. It is interstate commerce. We have jurisdiction over this. The Federal Trade Commission is conducting their investigation. As I said, there is a suit that is out there, and some of us have done an amicus brief on this that I have led. And we have to protect this industry. It is important to our state.
All right. That's all we have the time for. But Senator Marsha Blackburn, always great to have you on. And good luck with your power. I know that a lot of people are experiencing the same thing. It is 6:55 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan's got the news coming up at 7 o'clock. Joan.
It's working, he says, to tamp down the tensions in Minneapolis. We've got details coming up on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is 6:55. Super Talk 99.7. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. Want to tell you about my friends at USS United Structural Systems. I just had them out to my house, I think it was last week or the week before, and they found some issues, and it's an older home. And we talked about how the fact that if I don't get my issues fixed, relatively soon, then those problems can get worse over time. Now, January, clearly, as we all know, we've been dealing with all of this. January is a wet month. So you've got to go down into your basement. You've got to go down into your crawl space. And if you see moisture, if you see water, then you've got a big problem because it can quickly become a serious problem if it hasn't already. Now, you got to figure out where the water is coming from. That can, of course, be a nightmare. It can come from poor drainage, small cracks in your foundation walls, or even a hidden plumbing leak. But the USS team of experts, they're going to find it, and they are going to fix it. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out when you call 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, online anytime, USSTN.com.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we begin with some numbers for you. Thousands of Nashvillians and those in the surrounding area still without power this morning. Nashville Electric Service saying 106,000 customers are still without power. Some of them tell Channel 4 that they have received text messages telling them their power is restored, even though they're still in the dark. MTE reports just 785 customers are down now. Cumberland Electric has 6,000. Duck River Electric is down to about 300 now. Meantime, Governor Bill Lee is signing an executive order that allows TDOT workers to clear non-state roads. He spoke about it with WTN's Matt Murphy yesterday.
We have the resources because TDOT's been planning for it and kind of got ahead of the game a little bit. And that EO just allows TDOT to then support that debris cleanup on county roads. Hopefully that will speed up their process and get those roads open.
Yeah, that is the hope. The Tennessee death toll is now 8. There were 2 fatalities reported in Davidson County, and then 1 in each Cheatham County, Crockett, Haywood, Hickman, Knox, and Obion. President Trump is hinting that he's working to tamp down the tensions in Minneapolis.
Trump suggested he would de-escalate federal operations in Minnesota after the shooting death of Alex Preddy. Homeland Security now says a review of body camera video confirms 2 federal agents opened fire after one agent yelled that Preddy had a gun. But at no point does the report say Preddy tried to reach for his gun. And video shows Preddy's gun being removed by an agent before the first shot was fired.
That's ABC's Lionel Moyes, the president telling Fox's Will Cain yesterday he is not retreating, saying that they left, that Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino was just transferred to another location. A federal judge temporarily barring the deportation of the man who ran away, abandoning his 5-year-old son when ICE agents tried arresting him in Minneapolis last week. Now, that boy is also protected by this judge's order. The 2 are currently being detained at a Texas facility designed to house immigrant families with underage kids who have been accused of violating federal immigration law. Now, in his order yesterday, the judge only said that the government is blocked from deporting or transferring the man and his son until a further order from his court. CBS said the man already has a pending immigration court case. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Starbucks reporting a positive quarterly earnings report saying that for the first time in 2 years, foot traffic has risen at its stores. And Amazon announcing that it's cutting 16,000 jobs globally. Right now, the Dow futures minus 34, NASDAQ futures up 210, and the S&P futures are up 16 points. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Looks a little extra slow this morning on 24 eastbound side in the Joelton area, but it's slow moving on the roadways this morning. The major roadways, they look like they're clear. There are no accidents to speak of. You do have a blocked area in Temple Hills at the golf club there, Sneed Road between Temple Road and Old Natchez Trace. There's some trees down in that area. And Franklin, you've got the roadway blocked on Lewisburg Pike between Mac Hatcher Boulevard and Church Street, again, because of storm damage. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is Wednesday, and that means it's time for Wednesday with Wilson. Brian Wilson, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. A little cold in the studio here this morning.
You gonna be okay, Brian?
Yeah, I'll suffer through for you, Dan.
Speaking of suffering, Ilhan Omar has been, I'm going to put this in air quotes, attacked. President Trump actually is now quoted as saying that this attack on Ilhan Omar probably was a fake because Ilhan Omar herself is a fake. I'm playing the attack and just to get people caught up. Ilhan Omar last night, a guy stood up in one of her little town halls and sprayed her with a syringe, a couple of squirts, if you will, and then the guy was, tackled to the ground. Most people that have seen the video that are on our side of the aisle says this is a fake, a fraud, another juicy smoulier, if you will. And, I believe, and I watched the video this morning, I think that this whole thing is a fake, that this is all just some sort of a Democrat narrative where, she's a victim of a hate crime. You can't possibly investigate her for fraud. I mean, that's where I'm at with this.
Yeah, well, there's a certain amount of, suspicion that would be appropriate in a situation like this. I mean, I've looked at the attack, and what it looks like to me is that, she seemed... after the attack, the logical thing to do would be to go to a hospital and be checked out if you truly were concerned.
Exactly.
But she didn't seem to want to do that. And, I mean, I can't imagine a scenario where a politician gets sprayed with something. You don't know what that was. You don't know whether you're at risk. You don't know whether the people in the room are at risk. You don't know what that... You've got to go get checked out. And she just wouldn't hear anything of it, which, I don't know. I'm suspicious. I'll withhold judgment for the moment, but, I think it's, given where she is right now, that everybody, saying that, she needs to be investigated, she probably needed to change that narrative.
Yeah, and I think that is something that the Democrats, obviously, they're trying to change that narrative. Now, whether or not they'll be successful is anyone's guess. I want to play a piece of audio from Donald Trump now, and this is the president on Will Cain's show. This was yesterday, just going to stay in Minneapolis and in Minnesota, where he was talking about a number of different things, including whether or not he was retreating from Minnesota, which is what some people are saying with Tom Homan going in, Kristi Noem and Greg Bovino are leaving or have left Minnesota.
He has posted that you have retreated in Minnesota, Governor Gavin Newsom, and he is encouraging people to keep the pressure up.
See, I haven't heard that at all because it's just the opposite. I was called by the governor yesterday. I was called by the mayor yesterday. How do we do something? Please, how do we do something? I think it's bad for them. I don't think it's bad for us. I think it's bad for them.
Yeah, you'll have to see what Governor
But it's not
Newsom
a question
posted.
of retreat. We want safe cities. Whether it's if we took a lot of the crime out of there. We want safe cities and states. We want a safe country. And again, we just got a report done by Democrats that the country is the safest ever recorded.
So I guess the question is, Brian, some people are calling it a retreat. Other people are saying ultimately he's getting what he wants, which is state cooperation.
Well, he is getting some cooperation. I mean, look, I would say that we haven't lost the battle there in Minnesota, but we are losing it. It's not over yet. They sent in Tom Homan, and Tom Homan, remember, he did the same thing he's doing now during the Obama years. And so he has some contact and some cachet perhaps with Democrats, and maybe they're just hoping he can go down there and lower the temperature. The temperature has been lowing both. I mean, the real temperature in Minnesota is pretty low, but the political temperature has come down a notch, and I think that's fine. But what you have here really, I mean, this just frustrates me. You have basically anarchists in an unholy alliance with liberal white women who have basically decided that they're going to violate the law and insert themselves into police actions. I noticed with great interest that the appeals court in that area has backed up ICE and said, yes, ICE has the right to arrest, detain, and pepper spray people who insert themselves in those situations. That overturned a district court judge ruling in Minnesota. And so, we are correct in what we are doing. And yes, I'm sorry that Renee Good and Alex Preddy, got shot. I really am. But they inserted themselves into a chaotic situation that they should not have been doing. Your right to protest only goes so far. I mean, there are limitations on the right to protest and your First Amendment rights. You cannot, for example, insert yourself between the police during a police action. That is legitimate, as defined by the Court of Appeals just yesterday. So, look, I'm also frustrated by the fact that we as a nation voted in a made a pretty definitive statement that we wanted something done about immigration.
Yep.
And the first moment it gets a little rough and rocky, people, including some Republicans on the Hill, have decided, well, this is really, really, really bad. I'll tell you what's bad is that people don't like to see conflict on their TVs. They just don't. They especially don't like to see women being, pushed and pushed back and arrested and wrestled to the ground as they have in some cases. I think ICE is correct in doing that, but people just don't like to see the optics are not good, and the anarchists know it. So, what happened in America? We went all wobbly when things get a little tough. This is what we voted for. And by the way, what's happening across this country is that violent crime is being driven down in a dramatic fashion, 20% lower than it was. We haven't seen this in many, many years. And the reason is we're taking bad people off the street, and it's having an impact. So make up your mind, America. Did you want immigration reform or not?
Right. And that's a great point, Brian. Coming up, you've got a lot of these folks on the left, and now a couple of Republicans are saying that Kristi Noem must resign or be fired. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but she is throwing Stephen Miller right under the bus. And we're going to talk a little bit about palace intrigue, if we can, coming back, and a true case of Trump derangement syndrome as well. We'll continue with Brian Wilson coming up next at 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Ashland City Highway is blocked at Fairgrounds Road due to a crash. West End 440 westbound, an accident at West End Avenue. No problems on 24 or 65. The alert for tree and power crews working in the roadways. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as your weather goes, partly cloudy today, a high of 33, feeling like 31. Still very cold. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So you do, Brian, have a lot of these folks, basically everybody on the left and some on the right, saying that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or be fired. There is a big article today in the Daily Mail that is saying that she's under fire because of comments that were made, partly because of some comments that were made after the shooting of Alex Preddy, where she said that Preddy was brandishing a weapon, and clearly he was not, and also that he was out to do maximum damage. And so she is saying that her information came from Stephen Miller. And so now we've got some palace intrigue where you've got Kristi Noem going against Stephen Miller, and Stephen Miller is actually sort of backpedaling on some of the things that he has said in the past about that situation. So it does look like there's some, as I said, some palace intrigue going on between Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller, and I'm wondering if the reason why President Trump is now willing to maybe more negotiate and have more conversations with Tim Walz and the other folks, Jacob Fry there in Minnesota, is because his team was wrong on the messaging and the narrative following the death of Alex Preddy.
Well, who knows exactly where that information came from, but it was a bad moment for the administration. Let's just be honest about it. They mischaracterized what happened there. And so, I think that there's something going on. I mean, what I'm reading is that Noem and Homan had really clashed. And I was very surprised about that because Homan's, he gets things done. He's pretty effective.
Tom Homan is a legend.
Yeah. I mean, he really is. He's really amazing. And he has the respect, by the way, of the officers on the ground and perhaps a little cachet with Democrats. So maybe he can go down and soothe the feathers. But I think what the reason that Trump decided to back down is he looked at the public opinion polls and he's noticing that it's not going so well in that regard. And he's got to start thinking about the midterm elections. And I think pulling back a little bit here and de-escalating slightly might be not only might bring a little calm to the situation, but also probably is the smart political thing to do.
I want to play a piece of audio and video for you. This is a guy by the name of Elliot Foran. He is a Democrat candidate for Ohio Attorney General.
Okay.
I want you to listen very closely.
Hi, this is Elliot Foran, candidate for Ohio Attorney General. I want to tell you what I mean when I say that I am going to kill Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm going to obtain a conviction rendered by a jury of his peers at a standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, based on evidence presented at a trial conducted in accordance with the requirements of due process, resulting in a sentence duly executed of capital punishment. That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to kill.
Clean up on aisle one.
Yeah, boy, I gotta tell you.
He must have said that and then realized, now the Secret Service is going to be calling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But, we talk about lowering the temperature.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the Democrats actually want to lower the temperature.
Well, it's working for them.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, just talk about just the raw politics of it. It's working for them. I mean, as I say, they are winning in Minnesota. The battle is not over, but they've done well there, and accomplishing what they set out to do, which is to stop ICE, to demonize Donald Trump, and I don't know. I mean, the more outrageous they get. I mean, I'll give you an example of the stupidity of it all. We very much could have a partial government shutdown. Now, the House has passed all of its bills, and there are 5 bills that have to be passed in the Senate to avoid the shutdown. I mean, surprise, surprise, we're going about this through something called regular order, which is something we haven't done in a while. No omnibus spending bill. We've actually done the hard work of passing these budget bills. And I look at that and I say, the Democrats say, let's shut it down because we don't want to fund DHS. Well, here's a little bit of information. The ICE and Border Patrol are funded through 2029.
Yeah,
that was in the big bad beautiful bill, and they've got their funding. So shutting down the government, if you shut down DHS, we don't want to fund DHS. Well, the parts of DHS that would not be funded are things like, I don't know, FEMA. Do you want to do that in the middle of a record ice storm? Where you need to, supply the FEMA, do the thing that FEMA does for people. Do you want to shut down the airports in this country, the TSA? Because that's what will be shut down. So, I mean, they're just crazed right now. And I don't think they have fully thought through the ramifications of a partial government shutdown.
Well, they lost on the last shutdown, right?
Yeah, they did.
Clearly, people understood this was a Democrat thing. And so, I mean, there's part of me, clearly, I don't want to see FEMA funding cut, but there's part of me, though, that is thinking, go ahead, make our day and shut it down.
Yeah, it would be, this would again be pinned on the Democrats, and I think cooler heads will prevail. But, I mean, I'm not really sure because the logic seems to be going out the window with Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, you know, I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday, Brian, I played audio of a woman named Melinda. She was a nurse at VCU out there in Virginia. And she was talking about, and I don't have the audio handy, but she was talking about different ways to go after ICE. And she talked about putting, you know, some sort of a medication, if you will, into a syringe and sticking the ICE agents to give them to make them paralyzed, or, you know, putting, you know, poison ivy, a bunch of poison ivy plants in water and then squirting ICE agents and you know, going out on a date with an ICE agent or a border patrol and slipping Miralax into their drink. I mean, these are the kind. This was a nurse at VCU. Now, the good news, Brian, is that she got fired. That is the update to the story from yesterday. She's been fired. But I mean, you were spot on when you said, you know, I don't think they're really thinking these things through, whether it's the politicians or just, you know, Democrats out there that are part of that party.
You know, it is just this TDS. I mean, it is real, and people have out of bounds sort of reactions to Donald Trump, and it brings out the worst in a certain part of our society. I'm telling you, this nation right now is as divided as it's ever been, and that's very surprising to me given the outcome of the last election. It really is.
Well, I guess we'll have to see where this whole thing plays out. I think you're right. You know, we'll have the debate as a party as far as whether or not Donald Trump retreated or this was, you know, Trump playing 3D chess and all that other kind of stuff. But, you know, we'll save all that for another day. Brian, stay warm. Appreciate you joining us here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and we'll talk to you again soon. All right. Very good. And by the way, Brian's going to be filling in for me Friday and Monday, because I am heading up to Kentucky to help my daughter move, actually. So,
check that out.
They've got some pillows that need moving, Joan. I want to make sure that I don't throw out my back. So I'll be moving some.
So helpful.
Well, you know, those couch pillows can be kind of heavy, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you, Brian, for filling in for me on Friday and also Monday. 7:24 now. Joan, what do we got coming up in the news at 7:30?
A local meteorologist's son hospitalized after a sledding accident. That story at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Now, eventually, we're going to be able to go outside again, and you don't want to be sidelined with chronic back, neck, or knee pain. My friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they can help you. Now, they've got a couple of different ways, a multitude of ways to help you feel better fast. Of course, they've got that non-surgical spinal decompression, but they've also got this new technology. It is called the HydroWave. They've got the first and the only office in the state of Tennessee to have this new device. Again, it is called the HydroWave. Right now, they've got a brand new special going on to help you feel better here in the month of January. 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression. That is a great deal for 2026. 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression. Call them 615-246-5009 to get started. 615-246-5009. Don't forget, 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression when you mention my name, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Stoltz Co. Listen, this is a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. Now, they do build those phenomenal pole barns, and these pole barns, they can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, even barn dominiums. You can live in these pole barns, and yes, indeed, they are called barn dominiums. And these days, when you go through Stoltz Co., they are new and improved. Now, what they're offering you now is turnkey options, and that means that they handle the design, the construction, and, of course, those amazing finishing touches as well. You turn the key and you are home thanks to my friends at Stoltz Co. Now, your new pole barn from Stoltz Co. can be used for anything. So if you have some land that needs a building for whatever you want, call my friends at Stoltz Co. at 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. You can also find them on Instagram and Facebook to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee. Find them online, STOLTZCO, stoltzco.com.
Good morning. It is 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Some scary moments for Channel 4 meteorologist Bree Smith after her son was hospitalized because of a sledding accident. She posted this message on Facebook while they were at the hospital, and apologies for the background music on this.
He had a sledding accident yesterday and has a concussion and 2 fractured vertebrae in his spine. There was a period of time last night where they were worried it was his neck, and clearly it's not his neck. And the fractures are minor enough that he should recover, but no more sledding He's got to take it easy.
Yeah, she says her son hit a patch of ice near their Hendersonville home just before the crash. He's going to be okay. The man who was seen spraying a substance from a syringe onto Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is now in jail and facing charges of third-degree assault. Omar was hosting a town hall when she calls for the removal of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Omar continued that town hall after the man was hauled out. Now, he has been identified as 55-year-old Anthony Kazmerzak. He dropped the syringe on the floor, but officials aren't saying what the substance was in it. And here we go again, another performer canceling his act at the Kennedy Center. Composer Philip Glass was supposed to premiere his new symphony called Symphony Number 15. He called it a portrait of Abraham Lincoln. But in a post, he said the values of the Kennedy Center are now in direct conflict with the message of his work. So the mid-June performance has been canceled. Roma Daravi is the center's vice president of public relations. She tells CBS News in a statement, "We have no place for politics in the arts." That is the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, if you've got a dog that has been misbehaving, maybe you've got some aggression issues, maybe some anxiety, maybe some potty problems, I've got a company that can help you. They've been helping dogs and their owners for 25 years, and they've been helping thousands of dogs and their owners. Now, I call these folks the Dog Whisperers, and my buddy Jeff and his crew at Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they can help you with all of those issues that I just mentioned and a whole lot more. You know, what I really like about Ridgeside Canine Nashville, I've gone to speak to some of their clients, and they swear by Jeff and his team because they come in, they identify the problem, they take the dog in question for a couple of weeks, or maybe 2, 3, maybe sometimes even 4 weeks perhaps, but they train them. They train the dogs and they train their owners, and together, collectively, they can save this animal. Now, they've got a lifetime support guarantee, and they are there for you 24/7. Ridgeside Canine Nashville. Call Jeff and his team today. Tell him Dan told you to reach out. 615-878-0380. Visit them online, rsk9nash.com. The letter K, the number 9, rsk9nash.com. They've also got a great Facebook page. Ridgeside Canine Nashville, veteran-owned and proven results guaranteed for life. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Window Nation. Now, listen, now is a great time to upgrade your windows. You know, pay attention. You know what? Brian said his studio, did you catch this, Joan? Brian said that his studio was really cold this morning. Maybe what Brian needs is some new windows from Window Nation in that studio.
Oh, yeah.
See what I did there?
I do.
Now, I would tell Brian and you folks out there listening that if your house is cold, well, maybe the problem is that you need new windows from Window Nation. You know, I've got 4 in my home, and I've never been happier with the window company. Now, right now, they've got a great deal going on. You buy 4 windows, you get 4 free. So if you've got the hot air that is escaping, the cold air that is coming in, think about Window Nation and this great deal. Buy 4, get 4 windows free. That sale is going on right now. You can also get them with 0 money down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. Now, this is a company that has a 96% customer satisfaction rating and over 45,000 5-star reviews, including mine. They've installed over 3 million windows across the country. Reach out to them. Buy 4, get 4 windows free. That sale going on for the month of January, along with 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. Find them online. It is windownation.com, 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Well, we are looking at some roadways that are shut down this morning, blocked in Franklin on Lewisburg Pike between MacHatcher Boulevard and Church Street. That's some damage to the storm that needs to be worked on. There's some trees down near the Temple Hills golf course. So you've got Sneed Road blocked off, Temple Road to Old Natchez Trace. Things are running pretty well on the major roadways heading in. Now, 24 eastbound in the Joelton area. That's all slow this morning. It's just volume there and folks taking it easy, which is not a bad idea. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.737 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 615-737-9986. Hey, Joan, the phone's ringing.
Yeah, who can it be?
One guy, a couple of people have called. One guy wanted to give some intel on the back roads, and I could tell you from my experience, the back roads are tough this morning. And my driveway was actually really tough getting out this morning as well. I was not easy, and I thought that it would be a little bit easier. So I had to, 3:45 this morning, I'm out there with the snow shovel, and I'm picking, ice out of my driveway, and I threw some salt down, and I was able to get out of my driveway. But people are still having a really hard time. And, off and on throughout the morning, we've been talking about what a lot of people are talking about, which is Nashville's electric company. And the accusation on social media has been, and then Fox 17 picked up the story as well, is Nashville's electric company trying to save money by refusing help from unionized workers. Now, I saw this yesterday afternoon when it came out. A guy named Nick Smith posted this. This is what he posted. He says, there are about 18,000 of us that just got released from different utilities. We are union, and NES, they are cheap and will not pay our union rates. Oh. So they let the customers suffer, this guy says. And he says to blast NES, 275 linemen is a joke. Duke Energy has 18,000 linemen alone. Well, and I will point out, Duke Energy is multiple states, and NES, of course, is Nashville Electric. So Fox 17, though, picked up the story from there because, if there are legit questions that need to be answered, well, then they need to be answered, and this is something that does need to be discussed. This is what Fox 17 reported.
Nashville Electric Service is now being called out for allegedly refusing help from available lineman crews to restore power. I spoke to one IBEW union member who asked to remain unnamed.
I've had a lot of people reach out trying to come to Nashville to help restore power. They keep getting the same answer that NES is full. They don't need help. I just don't think they want to pay the union rates.
So, listen, I know nothing about power companies or unions, but from what I understand, there are different unions at play here, and you also have some non-union employees as well. But the bottom line is a lot of people are still without power, and let's see. It looks like Rick is one of them in Old Hickory. Rick, thanks for calling in. Go ahead.
Hey, Dan, I just wanted to share with you. I listened to the gentleman earlier. I was getting out of my car. My wife's in the hotel. We stayed in the house up until last night. The night before, it's 6 degrees. We're in Old Hickory. I know you mentioned everybody, and you can't get everybody. It's 40 of us out here out of power on South Trace Boulevard. Our street makes a loop, a half-mile loop. They keep energizing it. They've sent us, NES, speaking of, they sent us 4 texts from Sunday afternoon. We went out of power Sunday morning at 6 a.m. and saying we have power. We don't have power, then all of us have to get together, text, and call one another and resubmit an outage. And I finally spoke to a lady yesterday at NES and explained my situation. I said, I praise the linemen. My cousins retired from there, 3 of them, and that's a hard job. Brent Baker's a whole different story. Look, Monday afternoon, Middle Tennessee Electric, had 467 boots on the ground. How many did Nashville have on the ground? 300. That tells you everything you need to know, Dan. It's not a lot of discussion. They're doing an awesome job. I praise our NES guys.
Yeah.
But the management could have stepped up a little bit. And the gentleman called from the country, not to interrupt you, the gentleman called from the country. I just unloaded a freezer, a refrigerator in the garage because I keep stuff stocked up, and a refrigerator in the house. Won't happen again. I'm going to get a generator this week. I probably have to go up to Bowling Green somewhere to get one, but not going to do this again.
Well, so Rick, there's a lot of disturbing things about what you said. Number one is, and we reported on that story earlier, where you got a lot of folks that are saying they're receiving text messages telling them the power is back on, and they haven't. And it's like, okay, so what would worry me is that you're now off the list to get your power restored because NES believes that your power has been restored. So that's number one.
And we go to the bottom. We go to the bottom because we're just 40 people now, too. Is the sad part.
Oh, Lord. And did they give you an indication as to how long this is going to take?
When I called the lady called me back. I was 77-minute wait. So, you put your number in to call you back. And bless her heart, she called me. And we talked. She said, I don't have a time frame yet for when they'll get back to you. I said, okay. I said, I appreciate all you're doing. And I do, as I said earlier, the linemen are doing an awesome job.
Well, I had
management could have stepped up.
Yeah, I don't know, Rick, if you heard, and good luck to you, my friend. We had a lineman for NES call in the 5 o'clock hour, and he was talking about how they are working 16-hour shifts, and so there's like 16 on, 8 off. And it's not the lineman that is the issue, clearly. It's if there is an accusation, it is simply that there isn't enough of them. I've been telling you about my friend Anna, who sent this to me. She lives in Bellevue, also under NES purview, and she says that this was one of the worst hit areas in her neighborhood there, and she's got no power. AT&T phones have limited signals. Verizon, she says, if you're a Verizon customer, they seem to be okay. But people are using, backyards as refrigerators. They're cooking outside. And a lot of these people, a lot of you folks, you can't even get out of your neighborhood. Now, Chuck is on line 1, and you're calling from Goodlettsville, and you're going to talk a little bit about the back roads there in Goodlettsville?
Yeah, I called the mayor's office up there in Greenbrier. I've got a pregnant employee that works up there, that works for me, that lives up there. They're starting to run out of food. All the main roads are clear, and that's all good, but that's like saying we're ready at the ER, but there's no ambulance. They can't get an ambulance back there. She's got an elderly mother with a lot of issues. She's pregnant. They're starting to run out of food. They told me they would get somebody to get some food out there. That whole road is like that on Logan Road. I don't understand why all the main roads are clear. They need to go out and get these roads cleared, these back roads. I mean, even for the linemen and the other people to be safer and get in and out of there. I can't get back there in a four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
2 miles of people, and I got a buddy who was in Texas when they got hit with that bad storm. And what he does is he sets up, like when Duke Energy comes in, the company he works for, they go out and set up all the laundry, the living space, and the kitchens to feed those folks. Man, they were all over that. And he's from here. He still lives in Texas now, but he's still doing that for, traveling all around. Anytime somebody needs someone to set up a situation like that in a disaster, that's what they do. And he's just amazed. He's connected to these folks. He's amazed at how many people came there, and they're doing nothing here to bring people in from the outside. And he said it all has to do with money.
Yeah.
They do not want other unions. It's not about the people. So your tax dollars are not at work. That's what's going on.
Chuck, that is the accusation. And Chuck, I don't know if and by the way, NES is denying this, of course, as they would do. And so the reality is that NES is going to deny it, but people are going to say, oh, no. They had thousands of, this is the accusation, they had thousands of unionized workers that NES is accused of saying, no, we don't need your help. And the accusation is that NES said no because they didn't want to pay those union dues. And I'm here to tell you, I hope that is not the case. I hope that is not the case. By the way, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, I'm going to have Trent Scott on. You may recall him from earlier this week, Senior VP of Communications for the Tennessee Electric Cooperative. And he's going to talk a little bit about the accusations that are being made against NES and the challenges that they are facing. But to your point, Chuck, about the roads, I want to play this piece of audio for you, just for people that are just tuning in. Governor Lee was on with Matt Murphy yesterday, and the governor, to your point, you're talking about the roads. You know, some of these back roads, those are county roads. And so, as you know, through business as usual, the county roads, they are the county's purview. However, Governor Lee has now signed an executive order to get TDOT out there to fix and to clear these county roads. This is Governor Lee yesterday on with Matt Murphy.
Part of the challenge right now is the county systems that are struggling to keep up with debris cleanup and whatnot. So I actually signed an executive order today that would authorize TDOT to do some work which previously could only be done by the counties, because TDOT's got the roads in good shape all over the state, and because of that, we have resources to help counties with cleanup. So we were prepared, and the response has been really good. Nevertheless, you know, there's still people without power and without heat, and it's a really tough spot, but there is a lot of work being done. I was with linemen last night, actually, at 11:30, and they're out there, been doing 18-hour shifts. They're working all night long. I was with TDOT workers today that are out there 24/7. So the teams are working. In fact, we've got linemen coming from other states or that are already here from other states, because we're the state that got hit the worst as far as the ice and the outages. So there's a full-on effort, and progress is very steady.
Very steady. Some would say slow but steady. And you know, this is something that this accusation against NES is not going to go away. And one of the things, as we hear about all of this, and we're going to talk to Trent Scott coming up in the next hour, but one of the things is that, obviously, as everyone knows, this was a major, major storm. This was a major ice storm. One of the questions I'm going to ask Trent is that you had some of these, we have partnerships with other states and with their energy employees, the power, the linemen, and all these folks. And so we have these, cooperations with other states where if we get hit hard, then we have these power employees and these linemen that come in from other states. And I guess they were staged in North Carolina. And my question is, and maybe it's a dumb question, but okay, so why can't we actually stage them here in Tennessee, maybe centrally located like in Nashville? Because if they're staged in North Carolina, it's going to take a long time for them to drive from North Carolina into Nashville and into Middle Tennessee, where they can start to get the power on. And so there's a lot of questions, and people are going to have a lot of questions about NES. They're going to have a lot of questions about the staging. And this is one of those things where they just need to get the power on, and then at some point we'll start to look back at all of these questions and maybe get some answers.
Yeah, and for the people still without power, we just got a tip from somebody in Murfreesboro that Camping World actually has a surplus of generators. So, Chuck, if you're still listening, don't run up to Bowling Green. Head on down to Murfreesboro at Camping World. Apparently, they had a truck that was supposed to go to Texas, and it got rerouted. So there is a literal semi-truckload of generators at the Camping World in Murfreesboro.
Wow. What's the, where is that? If I may ask, do you know where?
It's right off 24 in Murfreesboro.
Right off. Look at Joan. Right off 24 in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, if you're heading on 24 eastbound, so you're heading down toward Chattanooga, it's on the right-hand side. You can't miss it. All the campers out there.
Okay, going to be a lot of cars going down to Camping World there in Murfreesboro to pick up a generator. I got to tell you that if you are a generator company, you have a lot of customers. I would be interested to know. 615-737-9986, either call or text. If you don't have a generator, has this experience made you realize that even though these occasions may come up once a year, maybe once every couple of years, have you changed your mind on buying a generator? Because I know that a lot of people have. I'm just curious as to if you've learned anything as a household, as a family. What have you learned from this ice storm and from your power outage that maybe you'll take into account and now you'll prepare differently for the next one, whether it's buying a generator, whether it is, the foods that you buy, your cell phone coverage, whatever it may be. 615-737-WWTN, 752 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan, I apologize. Did we do traffic at 45? I don't think that we did. So very quickly, What do we got going on with traffic-wise? And then we'll talk about your news tease.
So really nothing special. So we don't have any accidents. That's the great news.
Okay.
It's very slow on 24 eastbound through the Jolton area. Lots of folks just going slow there. And then you do have some trees down on Sneed Road. This is by the Temple Hills Golf Club. So they've got the roadway shut down, Temple Road to Old Natchez Trace. And that's it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Joan. 7:53 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I got to tell you about my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Listen, when I came to Middle Tennessee, I had a lot of pain. I went to go see Dr. Mitchell and all the pain pros at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They helped fix me right up. Now, they've got the latest and greatest technology at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, including the all-new HydroWave. And so this is, again, the latest and greatest in Middle Tennessee as far as how to heal you from your pain. The HydroWave, they say it is the first and only office in the state of Tennessee to have this brand new device. And of course, they also still have the non-surgical spinal decompression. Now, they've got a great deal going on right now, 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression for the new year. So they're trying to make you feel better fast and save you money as well. And don't forget, if you want to go through this non-surgical spinal decompression therapy, you can, and it is 47% off here in the month of January. Check him out online. 615-246-5009 is the phone number, 615-246-5009. Find them online anytime. It is painisbad.com, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. Jeremy writes, Home Depot in Murfreesboro has lots of portable generators. They at least did yesterday. And this is Andrew on line 1 on WTN. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I wanted to call in. I have the pleasure of both being a homeowner, a building inspector, and a consumer. We have a whole house generator that we put in about a year and a half ago, and we lost power on Sunday morning. We were without it for about 6 hours, and it's worth its weight in gold. But it's more, a luxury for people because a whole house generator can, be anywhere from about $10,000, on up. And I think I would probably just offer that if people are considering it, especially in power outages, everybody runs to the store and just grabs the generator without really understanding the amount of power that generators provide. Because a lot of times people end up, getting a generator that's undersized for what they're trying to do. But if they're considering a whole house generator, they should perhaps, talk to an electrical contractor. There's a lot of them out there, and then let them know what exactly they want to power if the power goes out. And if they can't afford to do a really big generator for their house that powers everything, they can recommend, smaller generators that may do things like, a well pump or, just basic electricity or power.
And Andrew, the other thing that I would say, too, is that there is a difference between, running to Home Depot or Lowe's and picking up a generator and going to an actual store. I mean, I'm not endorsing them at this moment, but, the Generator Supercenter, they specialize in generators, and so they can more guide you on the right generator to buy as opposed to just running to Home Depot and hoping that you're getting the right one.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second, problem becomes once you have that generator, what are you doing with it? You got to make sure it's far enough away from the house for carbon monoxide and things, and what are you going to power?
Exactly. Andrew, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we're looking at 22 degrees right now. There is a fog out there as well at that temperature. That could be a freezing fog. Be careful out there this morning. We'll have more with the forecast and Stefano right after the news. Lots of power outages remaining today. The two highest totals from NES with 105,000 and Tri-County Electric with 14,800 customers with no power. Dixon Electric says it's got 4,500. Despite the high number of power outages at NES, Tennessee U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn is telling Dan Mandis this morning she credits President Trump for helping out the state.
I'm grateful that Governor Lee got the emergency declaration into the president before the storm hit. So FEMA was able to activate resources to TEMA immediately. The president did us a solid. He approved that the minute it hit his desk.
Yeah, and Governor Bill Lee signed an executive order yesterday that allows TDOT to clear non-state roads to help get electric crews to the areas that need help. President Trump does a formal rollout of the Trump accounts today, those savings accounts for babies.
President Trump and private sector investors, they're spending this all-day summit to formally launch Trump accounts. The day is expected to be educational, inspirational, with lots of big names in attendance. You have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, of course, along with others like rapper Nicki Minaj, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who's expecting her second child, plus Cheryl Hines, Kevin O'Leary, Michael Dell, many other CEOs who have already pledged to match the government's initial contribution into these accounts.
That's Fox's Alexandria Hoff reporting. And there was a big announcement this morning from Tom Fitton. He's the guy at Judicial Watch.
We received word from Oregon that after a Judicial Watch lawsuit was filed to clean up the rolls in Oregon, they removed 800,000 names.
Yeah, they removed 800,000 names from the voter rolls in Oregon. In that announcement, Fitton says previous lawsuits caused an additional 5 million dirty names, as he calls them, to be taken off the voter rolls. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Bye. Hearing reports that there may be some ice fog this morning. It's 22 degrees. There is some fog, so careful out there as you go. The roadways are moving slowly, but they are moving this morning a little slower on 24 eastbound, all the way from Pleasant View into Nashville. And you've got a blockage this morning on Sneed Road between Temple Road and Old Natchez Trace out there at the Temple Hills Golf Course. There's a couple of trees down there, and also a closure on Lewisburg Pike in Franklin between MacHatcher Boulevard and Church Street. It's a storm damage they're trying to fix there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. And I want to say good morning to Trent Scott, Senior Vice President of Communications, the Tennessee Electric Cooperative. And Trent, I wanted to have you on again. We spoke to you a couple of days ago, and your cooperative does not represent Nashville Electric. Now, I don't know if you've seen the story, heard the news, but there are some accusations that NES, number one, does not have enough front linemen to get power on so quickly in the city of Nashville. That's number one. And the accusation is that they did not want to hire union workers. Now, I wanted to have you on because you're somebody that is going to, in my opinion, call more balls and strikes on this accusation. We're a couple of days from the brunt of this storm. We do still have in Nashville over 100,000 people without power. Based on the intensity of this storm, is it reasonable or unreasonable to believe that we should not have that many people still without power in the city of Nashville?
Hey, Dan, good morning. So obviously, Electric Co-op Association, we do not, I can't speak for NES, but I can talk about the electric co-ops across the state. We represent about 72% of the state of Tennessee. Most of your rural and suburban areas of the state. And so we have 25 co-ops, including in the Nashville region, Middle Tennessee Electric, Tri-County Electric, Cumberland Electric. And so, it's been all hands on deck for us to get the power back on. We are approaching this with a sense of urgency and know the challenges that having power off, especially during cold weather for an extended period of time, that's a problem. And we're approaching it with a sense of urgency and trying to get everyone back on as quickly as we can. I can say that for the co-ops, we've said that this is a historic storm, and we're approaching it with a historic response. And so we've got more than 1,000 additional line workers from co-ops in Tennessee, as well as Arkansas, Georgia, and Florida, who are coming into those areas that have had the most damage, and working to get things back on. And, it's our largest mutual aid response in at least 20 years. Co-ops have a reputation for being some of the first to respond. Tennessee co-ops have a reputation for being some of the first to respond when a call goes out for help. We routinely send crews to the coast following hurricanes and that kind of thing. And so we're calling in a lot of favors this week.
Yeah, I bet. Talk about, because I find this interesting, actually, the agreements that you have with different states to borrow linemen. I mean, we I guess, get linemen from other states. And as you just said, we also send linemen to other states as well. When it comes to staging, we're talking about this earlier. From what I understood, that we had some linemen that were staged in North Carolina, and I'm curious to know, why would they not be staged in Nashville? Like, if they're staged in North Carolina waiting for the storm to depart before they come into the state, would it make more sense, and maybe they already do this, but would it make more sense to have them staged in Nashville so that they're like ready immediately to go out and get the power back on?
Sure. And, it's reasonable to expect preparation for something like this. This was a well-forecast storm. We knew for a week that it was coming. One of the challenges, particularly with this event, was its scope. So this event, it impacted parts of a dozen or more states. And so where normally we might reach out to Alabama or Kentucky or Arkansas and say, hey, can you have some crews, send some crews our way? We know we're going to have some damage. In this case, those states were under the gun too. And, no one is going to start sending their crews somewhere else until this storm has passed and they know what damage they have in their own areas. And so that certainly made getting crews staged ahead of time a real challenge.
One of the things I find this interesting is there's a lot of talk about unions and all of this other thing. But, the reality is that the job of a lineman, I mean, it's very dangerous. And there's a lot of people that do it, obviously. And as I said, there's different unions and so forth. But, the people that work as linemen, whether they are coming from Alabama or North Carolina, I think, assuming there's a bit of a brotherhood and a sisterhood, if you will, of people that do this job, correct? And everybody's sort of looking out for each other?
Yeah, 100%. It is routinely ranked as one of the 10 most dangerous jobs in the United States. And that danger only grows when you're in a storm like this. And these guys have been pulling, or these teams have been pulling, 16-hour days, multiple days straight. They're tired. They may be working in a system where they're not as familiar with that system as they are their own system. So there's a lot of challenges, particularly from a safety standpoint, that you have to take into account when you are bringing, additional crews into an area and going through one of these long-haul restoration processes like this. Obviously, we want to get the lights on, but more importantly, we want to keep the public safe and keep our crews safe.
What is the ideal number of linemen? Let's just focus on Nashville because that's what everybody's talking about right now. We've got, I think we talked earlier, about 110,000 still without power in Nashville. And so it seems to me like, I'm just a layman, obviously, but, we had over 300,000. That is now down to 110,000. For a job like this, is there an ideal number of linemen for a job like this? And is it fair to say, look, the power isn't on, so clearly they don't have enough people working?
I totally get why you would think that. It seems like a problem where put some more people on it and the power gets on quicker. That makes sense until you get into the logistics of it. And this, like we just discussed, this is dangerous work. And at some point, you reach saturation where additional line workers, particularly line workers from somewhere else who don't understand the system and how it works, there's only so many of those that you can take and keep things safe. Every decision, every operation that's made on the line, that has to be coordinated, it has to be planned. And the last thing that you want happening is a crew working somewhere and another crew coming in and, turning that part of the grid on and hurting someone. So it's not quite as simple as just, hey, let's throw some more people at this and we'll get the power on faster. At some point, you get to where more people, it just doesn't help.
I find it interesting. A lot of people are talking about the dynamic of the various unions involved here. I guess you've got IBW, you've got non-union employees, you've got SEIU unions as well. Does that cause a bit of a complicated dynamic within this conversation about how NES is not, wanting to bring in, people from a particular union to get the power back on?
Dan, like I said, I can't speak for NES. I do know that for our co-ops are unique. They're rural, they're suburban, and it is more efficient when we work with other co-ops. Because we're talking about line workers who also understand how those rural systems work. There's a lot of commonality. We build things at a certain standard so that crews from other co-ops can come in and they understand how our systems work. So there's some familiarity that is important in a situation like this, and so that's why having crews who understand how a co-op operates, there's some real value there, and so that's what we've been trying to focus on, is getting other co-op crews to come in who understand how rural co-ops operate.
All right, Trent Scott, Senior VP of Communications at Tennessee Electric Cooperatives, thank you very much for joining us here on Super Talk. I got to cut this short because I've got Senator Bill Hagerty on the other line. No offense. So appreciate you joining us here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, real quickly, let's find out. Joan, are you there? You want to do traffic real quick, and then I'll get on the phone with Senator Hagerty?
Yeah, sure. So we're looking at traffic just running slowly this morning on a number of roadways, especially 24 eastbound heading into Nashville from the north. Some reports as well that there is a fog, and it may be a frozen fog because we're only at 22 degrees. Careful out there this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Joan. Our time is limited with Senator Hagerty, but he is joining us here on the Newsmaker Hotline. Senator, thank you very much for joining us. Boy, there's a lot to talk about. First of all, of course, there is the storm. I actually had Senator Blackburn on earlier, and she, at her home here in Nashville, is without power. And let's get a status check on you and talk a little bit about the storm that we've been experiencing.
Yeah, same no power, and I think that's I was over at the Tennessee Emergency Management headquarters yesterday. We've got a lot of counties where we just don't have the data. So my sense is across the state, we're well over 200,000 homes as of last night that still are without power. The crews are working night and day, though. I've been out with the state troopers. They've been doing welfare checks on people, making certain that the folks are elderly, shut in, whatever. They're just going to make certain that they're okay, and if they need to be moved, they've been great about that. So I think all of our listeners just need to know that if they need help, reach out. Troopers have been just great about helping folks all across our state. NES has got crews out. There are other crews from other states that have come in to help them, and it's just, given the size and scope of this, Dan, I mean, over half of the homes without power in Tennessee are in the Davidson County National Electric Service area, and we haven't seen an ice storm like this, and I don't know when.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the story, but there's some accusations against NES that they're not hiring union workers, and they don't have enough people out on the streets trying to get the power on. And again, the accusation is that they're refusing to hire union workers. I don't know if you have any insight on that or not. I mean, it's kind of out of your purview.
Yeah, I don't have any insight on that. I'll say this. I've been out to NES headquarters. I've met with the pole climbers. These fellows are brave. They're talented, regardless of what their status would be with union or not. I think they've got about 300 of these guys. They actually do rodeos, Dan, where they compete in terms of their ability to climb the poles and do the various things that they do. But these are well-trained, highly trained people, and they go all over the country. So their counterparts are here now trying to help, and it's a dual issue. I understand now we've got, according to Tennessee Emergency Management Director Patrick Sheehan yesterday, he said we've got enough electrical workers, pole workers. Now really the issue is getting vegetation out of the way, and there are so many trees down. NES can't do their job if they can't get to the site. So there's a lot of coordination that's underway, and everything I've seen is that people are working hand in hand, arm in arm, not fighting over jurisdictions. And I think the last thing we ought to be discussing is whether somebody's got a union status or not.
And it's interesting, in Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee, he has signed an executive order allowing TDOT to get into some of those county roads and some of the rural areas to start clearing those roads so that the power companies can get to the get to the power line so that they can get these folks back on. So thank you very much. Let's talk about some politics, if you'd like. Minnesota, of course, I think it's been a minute since you and I spoke. The president has now decided that that we are going to try to work more in coordination with the governor for the state of Minnesota, Tim Walz, and also Mayor Jacob Frey. And it's interesting because that's what President Trump has wanted all along, is to, have some coordination with the, with the folks at in Minnesota. So I think this is a welcome situation, but it seems like there's some people that are saying, well, the president is caving to the people on the left. What say you?
Listen, I know that the president wants to see cooperation because we're a living, breathing example of it right here in Tennessee, Dan. You're aware of Operation Memphis Safe that we've been undertaking with 16 federal agencies working arm in arm and hand in hand with the local police officers, the local officials in Memphis, with the state troopers have been there enforced. Tennessee Emergency Management's been there. TBI, our investigative state-level group, all of them working in concert, all in the same. You walk into the buildings where the task force is, you can't tell who's working with whom. Nobody's showing the colors. They're just all trying to work together, and the results have been phenomenal out there. Over 5,000 arrests. We've taken some of the worst gang members off the streets. These are some very, very tough folks that are involved in drug traffic, not only in our state, but frankly in the whole region. And you've got the Tren de Agua operating out there. You've got local gangs in Memphis. They're being shut down. And the people from West Tennessee are calling me. They're writing saying, thank you for working so closely with FBI Director Patel, with Attorney General Pam Bondi. I started this process last year with local leadership there in Memphis, and building up a real basis of trust. And what we've seen manifest itself now with this storm is that all of the folks that were out there helping with the crime situation chipped in, and they're helping. Memphis is now secure from a weather standpoint too. So cooperation is absolutely essential. This resistance stuff that Tim Walz was perpetuating, wound up getting people killed. He's putting people in danger. They just did a 287G agreement, which means they would take a criminal who's got a detainer warrant on them. All they need to do is hand them over to the proper federal authorities. They won't do it. They release them into the population and create all of this danger and force crews that are 10 times the size to go in and ferret these people out when all they needed to do in the first place was to just hand them over to the federal authorities.
Well, and
there's a lot of blame here.
You're right, Senator. Now we have the Democrats in the Senate talking about shutting down the government if they can't essentially defund ICE and defund the Border Patrol through DHS. Do you think the government is really going to shut down because the Democrats want to defund these very important agencies?
Well, Chuck Schumer's still stating that's his plan. I know that there have been extensive discussions involving my colleagues in the Senate that are on the Homeland Security Committee. I'm not. The White House is involved in it. They're trying to find a solution. The last thing I think anybody wants to do is defund the agency that has our transportation, the TSA agents in it, FEMA. Think about what's happening here.
Yep.
I've been working with everybody on the ground, with Governor Lee's team and with the White House, to make certain that the emergency declarations are prepared. They're working on it last night here at the state level to quantify what we think we need, and we're going to be right on top of it. But if we don't have any FEMA because it's defunded by the Democrats, that's going to be a huge problem. So it really is short-sighted for them to be doing this. When they're unhappy with the results of an election, they could try to actually come up with policies that people would want to see that would make our nation stronger. Instead, they just want to do this resistance movement, which is wholly destructive.
Well, and it's crazy, too, because, we're talking earlier about this on the show where, the American people, and you know this better than I do, sir, is that American people voted Donald Trump into office based on mass deportation and securing the border. And we do have a lot of this resistance stuff that is going on. And it's like these people on the left, they don't realize that the American people voted for this. And it's almost like an attempt on the left. It's almost like an attempt of mob rule.
Yeah, I was talking with folks at DHS yesterday, and they're talking about how well coordinated these protesters are. They've got resources, they've got NGOs, non-governmental organizations behind them. They've got plenty of money, and they're communicating with each other and organizing this unrest. It's something that we've got to get behind, and not only DHS but the White House are deeply concerned about the elements that are coming in and trying to create this sort of disruption. Again, Memphis is a case study of how to do it right by cooperating. And you've got this disaster that's taking place in the streets of Minneapolis. They seem to want to create and foment this sort of disaster because they think they gain political points on it right now. And that's why I think Schumer, will follow through with his threat to shut down the government if we can't find a procedural way to navigate around him, because it's working for him and his far left base. And that's who he's answering to, not to the American people, but I think it's a clear minority, but a very loud, vocal minority on the left that are, pressing to shut everything down, to resist everything, and supporting rioters and people that are here illegally and criminals over law enforcement. It really is hard to justify this.
It's hard to justify, and the mob rule mentality is just. I personally think it's going to sink the Democrats. I know that there's been polling out there that shows that the president is losing independence over some of this stuff. I don't know if I'm buying that, Senator. I think that, and maybe I'm just in my little conservative bubble, but I think the American people, these independents, they've got to see that this is good versus evil, and the insanity that we're seeing in places like Los Angeles and in Minneapolis. This is clearly the evil that are standing up for the evil that has come across our southern border and doing horrible things to Americans.
It's just amazing to me, and I'm sure to everybody listening, Dan, these loud voices, where were they when our border was being flooded? Where were they when fentanyl was being pumped into our state, into our nation? Yep. The numbers just in Tennessee, 3,000 deaths a year from drug overdoses coming across that southern border. They kept trying to say there's no problem here, nothing to see. And then they go out and actively engage in the frustration of law enforcement activities. They get between law enforcement and the person who's there, the criminal that they're trying to apprehend. And it's one, it's incredibly dangerous, but two, it just shows the incredible hypocrisy here of the left, where they are calling for people's heads now. And look, any death is tragic. I'm not trying to make light of it at all, but where were they when Laken Riley died? Where were those voices when fentanyl was brought into the country? They were silent. So I think it's time to acknowledge the fact that the vast majority, of voters, certainly in our state, support law and order and clearing this mess up. That's what President Trump promised to do, and that is, I hope, what is going to transpire now if Governor Walz has finally sobered up and said, look, we need to cooperate and stop this craziness.
All right, Senator, good luck with your power. Hopefully it gets on soon, along with everyone else's, and appreciate you checking in.
Thanks, man. God bless.
All right, see you later. The Senator Bill Haggerty joining us on Super Talk 99.7. Running late, worth it, and it got a lot more straight ahead on Super Talk 99.7. $828 and Brentwood Jewelry. Want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. Listen, if you've got a big event this year, 2026, they've got great gift ideas: rings, watches, earrings, money clips, necklaces, you name it. They've got it at Brentwood Jewelry. They've always got, and their tagline is clearly indicative of what they stand for. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years at Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. My favorite watch is indeed from Brentwood Jewelry, and that was a gift from Amy, and I have bought her a couple of pairs of earrings as well. From Brentwood Jewelry, this is the official jewelry store of the Mandis House. Find them online, BrentwoodJewelry.com. Again, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Tell them Dan told you to reach out, BrentwoodJewelry.com. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Now listen, clearly, as we are experiencing right now, your comfort is incredibly important. Busy Bee is my company for all things comfort. They've been helping me out with my heating and air for over a decade and a couple of homes as well. Now, they've installed new systems for me. They've repaired old ones as well. This is a great company. They're always there to help you save money and stay comfortable. And they're here for you in 2026. In January, right now, they've got some great deals going on HVAC. Get 0% financing for 18 months if you need a new unit. You get a complimentary UV light with any new unit install and a free 5-year labor upgrade as well. That is a $750 value. If indoor air quality is your thing, take 15% off those UV lights when you book a premium duct cleaning. And if you want to become a member of the Beehive Club, you buy one Beehive membership, you get another one free for a friend. Give him a call, busybeehvac.com. Tell him Dan told you to reach out at 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com. Busy Bee, your comfort, our mission.
Good morning. It's 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Crews currently chipping away at the massive power outages in the Nashville area, but so many are still in the dark this morning. NES's outage map showing 106,000 still without electricity, despite hundreds of linemen being brought in from other states to help. MTE has nearly 800, 6,000 for Cumberland Electric. The death toll is now standing at 8 in Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee signing an executive order that expands TDOT's powers to contract crews and work with local governments to clear non-state roads. It allows linemen to perform much-needed repairs to certain outage areas. When Minnesota police moved in Monday night to arrest agitators outside a hotel, the first time we've seen police take action, they arrested several people, and that made news headlines. Some of them threw frozen water bottles at police and damaged property. Well, now Fox News has detailed the criminal backgrounds of the 13 people arrested. Their backgrounds include felony convictions for rioting, theft, and robberies, and DUI. One of them is a nurse at a nearby hospital. The agitators were attempting to make too much noise for ICE Commander Gregory Bovino to sleep. They believed that he was staying at that hotel. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. A couple of minutes here after the opening bell, and the Dow Jones Industrial starting out 66 points higher. NASDAQ is up 146. S&P 500 index rising 20. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:34, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. I want to tell you about all the vision pros at Vision for Life and Dr. Jeff Horn. You know, I keep seeing over and over again in Dr. Horn's reviews at Vision for Life where his patients are saying I should not have waited. Well, that's what I said. Now, before my lens replacement surgery, I dealt with the constant hassle of glasses and contacts. You got your reading, driving, working, everything felt harder than it needed to be. Now, these days, I can see clearly at every distance, and it's honestly changed my day-to-day life. So when I read review after review from patients saying the same thing, I wish that I'd done this sooner. It really does hit home because, again, that was me. So if you're dealing with age-related vision loss, cataracts, or just you're tired of blurry vision, do yourself a favor and don't wait. Dr. Horn at Vision for Life, he takes the time to evaluate your eyes and create a plan that is right for you. The procedure is quick, recovery is fast, and the results are life-changing. Call them and tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020. Find them online anytime, visionforlife.com. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. $836, Mark Spain Real Estate. By the way, Joan, breaking news.
Yes?
Chris Hand is actually in studio.
No way.
Yeah. He was.
He must have really braved, terrible circumstances to be there.
What is it you always say, Chris? Brave and what is it? Stunning and brave?
Stunning and brave.
Chris was stunning and brave coming back into the studio today.
I really was. I'm not going to be intimidated by ice.
It's an Ilhan Omar reference, right? Okay, very good. 836, Dan Mandis here, Mark Spain Real Estate. Start the year off stress-free. Sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer. You're going to save time, make the most money, and eliminate all that hassle. Now, don't worry about that hassle. The hassle of constant cleanings and making costly repairs. With Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer, you can receive the strongest all-cash offer in the industry and move when you're ready. No showings, no open houses, and no stress. Now, one of their satisfied clients, Andre, said that I had an excellent experience working with Mark Spain Real Estate. They were professional, knowledgeable, incredibly responsive as well. They made what could have been a stressful experience seamless and straightforward. Andre says, I highly recommend Mark Spain Real Estate. Selling your home is one of the biggest financial decisions you are ever going to make, so who you work with matters. They've got over 14,000 five-star reviews. You could trust the most experienced real estate team in America to sell your home quickly and for top dollar. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Call them 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. This is markspain.com and start packing.
Slow moving, but accident free. If you're traveling 24 into Nashville, 24 eastbound from the north, it's slow all the way from Pleasant View into the city. Same thing if you're traveling on 65. It's very slow heading into Nashville this morning. 24 is running okay. No problems on 40 this morning, and 65 heading north. It is slow, but it's moving okay. Blocked at Temple Hills Golf Course this morning, Sneed Road from Temple Road to Old Natchez Trace, and that is because there's some trees down. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.840 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The way that, Chris is over there, head bobbing, I feel like this is a song that I should know. What is this, Chris?
Is this Cruisin' by Eazy-E?
Is this Cruisin' by Eazy-E? Is that what
Boys
it
in
is?
the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
I should have known that.
Oh, you know what? I got in trouble last night at the house.
What did you do?
Why now?
Well, you know what? It seems to be a common occurrence. So I made the mistake.
Were you complaining about not parking in the garage again?
No. No, Chris, I wasn't. Thank you, though, for bringing that up.
You got it.
Just another reason to, my wife be irritated with me. No, you know what I said? She said, why did you lump, I got to make sure I get this right. Why did you lump Boys to Men and One Direction in the same bucket?
I heard that
Clearly,
yesterday.
Chris, you know that Boys to Men and One Direction, they're not the same. Boys to Men is Motown.
Yes. Well,
don't you know that?
I mean, not really Motown.
More like R&B.
Whatever. They're
all
clearly
boy bands?
They're clearly not the same as One Direction.
Definitely not. One Direction's skinny and white. Boys to Men are large and black.
It's true. It's true.
Fact check true.
And I think all the Boys to Men guys are still alive, right?
Oh. I don't. They're all alive with One Direction, aren't they?
No.
No? Oh.
Zayn fell off a balcony in Brazil.
It happens.
Fell, pushed, whatever.
He was on drugs.
You guys are killing me.
What?
Nothing.
People fall off balconies every day.
Whether
is
it be to
true.
the ground or from a cruise ship into the ocean. It happens.
Anyway, so that's why I got in trouble. So clearly.
So you got a talking to.
Yeah, she was like, why did you do that? Like, I know.
Was that while you were doing your whole lifestyle segment that you then got that wrong and had to be corrected at home?
Probably. I don't know. I get a lot wrong. I find out when I'm at
That
home.
was when,
or-
I think that was during the segment that you couldn't remember who you saw at the Orb in Vegas.
Oh, and I had to remind you that it was the Backstreet Boys.
Yes,
Which-
it was.
I just feel like you were lying. I feel like you still got that Backstreet Boys T-shirt at home, and you had the best time, and you didn't forget.
Okay, a couple of things. I did have a great time.
You got him.
Going to see the Backstreet Boys at, you called it the Orb. It's not the Orb. It's
The Sphere.
The Sphere. It's
Oh,
the Sphere.
Whatever.
The Orb.
Same thing. It's like Boys to Men in One Direction. People
It's the
mess
same
things
thing.
up.
No, I had a great time. I couldn't tell you the difference between Boys to Men and One Direction, but now that whoever said skinny and white, large and black, okay, well, I get it now. Boys to Men, large and black. But yeah, so I couldn't. If you played me a song by Boys to Men, I probably would not be able to tell you that is Boys to Men.
No.
I couldn't pick him out of an audio lineup, Chris.
It'd be the end of the road for you.
Yes, I got it.
If you could come up with the names of the songs, it'd be One Sweet Day. But I don't think that would happen.
No. You want to keep doing this? You want to keep throwing down some?
You keep messing up these band names, and you're gonna have 4 seasons of loneliness.
All right. I've had more than 4 seasons, but moving right along from there.
Doing just fine. That was one more. I had one more to get through. So, I Googled them for the record. Let the record show I had to Google Boys to Men songs.
Are you sure? Because you sounded pretty confident there.
I did sound. It's,
I can see his screen over
little,
his shoulder.
little radio magic.
Is that what that was?
Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
So I've got some people calling me a hack.
Hmm.
And I've always stated that if I were a hack, I'd be making a lot more money.
Amen.
But I don't know why I'm being called a hack, but I'm talking about the whole, and I'm not going to, I'm done with the topic. NES not hiring union workers. They don't have enough people out on the lines, that whole thing. The Super Text line is flooded with people that have either worked for or do work for NES that are saying there's something to that accusation. The accusations were made on social media. Then Fox 17 picked up the story as well. I mean, I find it interesting. I mean, look, we got over 100,000 people still without power in Nashville. And so people are going to be asking the question as to why. And whatever. I mean, all I'm doing is, reporting on this story. And for that, I'm being called a hack. And I don't know why. But whatever.
And
I don't
you
care.
didn't even go as hard as the internet went. The internet was picking apart the fact that she was the female CEO of NES.
Oh, the female CEO, and that's why
they were blaming diversity hires.
No, I'm not going to say that.
I'm just telling you what the internet said.
All I know is if you could get it on before 2:00 today, my brother is threatening to come take a shower at my house, and I would prefer for that not to happen.
Okay. Well, there is that. Well, just, make sure you have some towels for him. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Are you,
What's wrong with you?
are you possessive of your shower, Sam?
I'm possessive of my very nice Egyptian cotton towels, yes. It was a wedding present.
Tell him to bring his own.
I was going to say, bring his own towels.
He hasn't been able to do laundry. They don't have anything clean.
Oh.
Go to Walmart, pick up a crappy towel.
That's what I'm going to tell him to do.
Yeah. Go to Walmart, bring your own towel.
You keep your tuchus off of my Egyptian cotton there, Thomas.
People still talk about
the best cotton comes from Giza. Everybody knows it.
Giza?
Oh yeah, that's where you get the dream sheets.
Thank you, Mike.
The basis for Black Sabbath?
Promo code pillow.
Geezer Butler is the basis for Black Sabbath.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
It went right over my head.
Oh yeah, you knew all those Motown songs from One Direction.
It was okay.
What now?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right, Dan. All right. How much throat coat have you had this morning?
Not enough, clearly.
Slippery elm overdose.
All right, moving right along. Why does Dan have large and black on his mind? Stop it, 4460.
Oh,
Stop it.
Ryan, no!
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, so thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
I thought you, honestly, we were talking earlier. I thought that you were going to try to milk it one more day.
Oh, God.
And actually, Joan agreed with me.
Did she?
Yeah, Joan was like,
Of
there's
course
no way
Joan
he's
would
going to try to milk
disparage
this
me.
one more day.
No way.
I thought
No
about
way
it.
he would not.
I thought about it.
I know you thought about it. That's why I was so surprised to see you.
The kids also had another day off of school.
How long are they going to milk it?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? It's going to be February by the time they get back to school.
Oh, yeah. Well, they love it, though.
Yeah. Is Riker still out of school?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was up at midnight. I woke up and he's in there playing his video games. Something happens to kids when they don't have to go to school. They're up all night playing their video games and all that. I was the same way when I was a kid.
Were you?
Yeah.
You just up all night playing that Atari?
Yeah, Atari. Yeah, playing Adventure, Pac-Man.
Okay.
Space Invaders and Asteroids and Centipede.
Could you really play that all night? You wouldn't get bored?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Are you kidding? Yes, of course.
It just came said like a total storage of like 10 megabytes.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
It's embarrassing.
Or I'd be watching MTV.
What's that, Dan?
That was more of a teenage thing, I'd imagine.
Regale us of the tales of this MTV.
Yeah. What
I've
is
never
music
heard,
television?
I've never heard of it.
I would spend a lot of time, an inordinate amount of time, watching MTV. I may or may not have had teenage thoughts about Martha Quinn.
Who the heck is Martha Quinn?
Who is Martha Quinn?
gosh.
I'm going to throw something at you.
I'm Googling her.
It was, okay, she's fetching. She's
was
one of
really
the
cute.
original MTV VJs.
Yeah.
How do you not know this?
She's
It
like a
was-
6.5.
Who are you?
6.5? Well, I think that by the standards in the 80s, she was hot.
With two
but
T's.
maybe not now. Yeah, with two T's.
Well, you had Martha Quinn. Who is the other one that sounds like she has emphysema now? I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
There's Martha Quinn, and then there was the one that, she just sounds horrible. She's a DJ on one of the XM satellite music things. But she was one of the original four. There's Martha Quinn.
Did you also have it out for Joan Jett, given her haircut when she was on MTV?
No. You know the story
They
about
had
me.
the same hair.
You know about me with the story about Joan Jett, right?
No.
I had the hots for Joan Jett when I was a kid. Oh my goodness gracious! Only to find out that she plays for the other team. You know, whatever, however you say it.
Oh, she does?
She likes women. Yeah.
Real man believes in conversion therapy.
Not that there's. And let me guess, Sam, you're the man to get Joan Jett to convert to the other side.
No.
You sure about that? Because
no.
You seem pretty confident in
No.
some of the things you say there, Sam. Okay.
Left me a
whatever.
layup there. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Very good. Nina Blackwood, thank you.
There you
Nina
go.
Blackwood. Yeah. Downtown Julie Brown. Now we're talking generational MTV. Downtown Julie Brown and Pauly Shore was probably your era, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Did you watch MTV or did you think it was Satanist?
No, I didn't watch MTV much.
We
No?
were VH1.
I did.
VH1.
I did. I was gonna say I did have an affinity for pop-up video on the VH1.
Yes.
Pop-up video was awesome.
Was that when you were stoned? You liked that a lot?
No, I was 11, Dan.
Listen,
Some kids start early.
Thank you, Joan. Some
Yeah.
people start early. Joan started at 10.
I know.
What? I'm sorry. Was that an off-air conversation, Joan? I'm sorry. I'm getting a little punchy because of all the whole union thing and people yelling at me. Whatever.
Okay.
All right.
You scared Dan. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, Dan just jumped when Sam played that sound effect. You all right?
Yeah, I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
We're going to need a cardiologist sponsor soon.
Friday Night Videos. Did you ever watch Friday Night Videos? 53, 54. Friday Night Videos. I loved Friday Night Videos. You ever watch that?
No.
I thought Pauly Shore, that whole bit got old like the first time that I saw him on MTV.
I liked Biodome.
Biodome?
You don't remember the Pauly Shore movie Biodome?
No, you know what? I got out of MTV, when I basically became an adult.
Oh.
So,
Ooh.
what? No, I'm just saying. Well, okay, MTV stopped playing music videos. So, actually, I could tell you the exact time I stopped watching MTV. The Real World, the first season, I liked The Real World. And then about midway through the first season, I thought, they're all getting like an all expenses paid trip to wherever it was. It's like, this isn't actually the real world. And I stopped watching and I never went back. So.
You on that show would be comedy gold.
Me on the Real World?
Back when it.
I would like to see. I think Chris would be great on a version of like Jersey Shore.
See, I wouldn't work on those shows because I don't drink. And the key points of the producers is to get everybody as liquored up as possible to act outlandish.
Kurt Loder, news guy. Kurt Loder was the news guy. Turned out to be a flaming liberal, but no big deal.
Is he the one that did the spring break? No, or is that
no, he's the news guy.
He did the news.
MTV News.
I didn't know they had news.
Yeah, they did news. Well, you're young, Sam. You're young. You're young and naive.
I checked out of that MTV like pretty quickly.
Really?
When they stopped with the
videos.
With the videos, it just it didn't have a point anymore.
No, you're right. Kind of like this segment.
There's that. There is that.
Sorry. Joan, did you have a crush on an MTV VJ? Now, in your time, there's
in the before times.
In the before
Joan.
times. You had Mark Goodman, and I forget who the other guy was. Alan Hunter.
Yeah, no.
Mark Goodman and Alan Hunter, and there was also what was his name? There's a black guy. I forget his name. He was actually a DJ in Los Angeles, and he was really good too. I liked him. I forget his name. What?
This just makes me laugh.
Okay.
The reminiscing without the actual reminiscing part is great. You remember that one guy that we can't remember his name? He was awesome.
Being Somali is not about just eating bananas and rice, but it is eating bananas and rice. That's the vibe.
He's going to keep bringing this up.
The bananas and rice clip was one of the best.
It's hilarious.
Okay, can we talk real quickly about? And I liked Headbangers Ball as well, people. Can we talk about the stunning and brave Ilhan Omar and her surviving that attack?
She looked like she was going to square up and fight the guy.
She did.
After she glanced up to give him the look of approval, like, now's the time to squirt me.
Now's the time. It's like a radio person who's waiting for the out cue of a commercial before you jump back on. And then it's like she looked at him like, okay, now is the time. I talked about Christian Ohm.
Yep.
Fired her step down. Come on. Now is your time. And he gets up and he squirts her. Sam thought that it was
all over her.
Sam thought that it was bacon grease.
I've seen that on the internet.
And Amy, oh my God. Joan and I had to
Work wife.
Yes. Joan and I had to explain to Sam that bacon grease, even if you melted it, is too thick for
You're
a syringe.
talking to the Southerner who's been collecting it since he was 10. So
Yeah, but have you shot it through a syringe lately? No.
I have. I've injected turkey breasts with it. You heat it up and you shoot it into the turkey breast, put it in the smoker.
All right, we got to go.
You're really putting bacon grease in your turkey
We got
breast?
We got to go because I got stuff to do.
Is that right?
You going to Starbucks?
No, I've got a commercial to do, and we can't miss any commercials. Don't you know that?
I do.
Okay.
I got a great show coming up.
I get yelled at. Hey, Chris, what's coming up?
We're going to talk about Ilhan Omar. We're going to dive into how she faked this entire attack. And we wonder, we'll ask the hard questions. Why didn't they yell, "This is MAGA country," before they squirted her?
That's exactly right. That's
all
exactly
that,
right.
All that and more.
By the way, wait till you hear Chris is going to tell you all about the dude's family.
Oh, yeah. We did some digs.
We did some digs. All right, Joan, real quick, what's coming up?
We have more on the outages that continue this morning. Also, it's not just linemen that are needed around here. We'll explain coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis for Xfinity and their 5-year price guarantee gold medal celebration. You know, when Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price is not going to change for 5 years. No contracts and no commitments. So, while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting with coaches, your Xfinity price won't budge for 5 years. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games rolls around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And by the way, you'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That is a $10.99 a month value. Xfinity, imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary. To get started, call 1-800-XFINITY. Find them online, xfinity.com, or drop into a store today.